What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. On today's show, we're going to be talking about, we have two videos we're watching. We're watching Luke Stevens reacting to a GameStop employee working at GameStop and retail is a nightmare. Okay, that's one. Then we're going to talk about Arc Raiders. Force Gaming had Arc Raiders really surprise him. He had hand-on impressions with it, so we're going to talk about that as well. And then we have an article from GameIndustry.biz that says the state of indie games and industry in 2024. So we'll talk about that as well. If you guys like what I do here, we do it Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations, watch videos, reactions, give you my opinions. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that. Become a member as little as $5. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Roadkill? Stealth? Dustin? Worlds? What's going on, Dolphin? Krebsy? Krebsy says, Force Gaming doesn't take me as someone to play extraction shooters. Plays a lot of different games. Plays a lot of different games. But I think I'm going to start off with the state of industry, indie games, so that the videos, if they take longer, we have time for them. We have a Battlefield story, like a Battlefield Bad Company story, but I think I'm going to save that for tonight for GXG and get Sarge's thoughts and stuff on it. So I kind of don't rehash that one. So I think I was gonna put in as the main one of the main topics, but I was like, you know what? I think it's better if I talk about that with Sarge because we both love Battlefield. All right. Last night we played some Star Wars Battlefront 2. Played with Robert Jones and Dolphin. Good time. I like playing with people. Just that's such a good game. I know it had such a shitty start because of the microtransactions, not because the game was broke or buggy. It was more because of the microtransactions and what they were charging. But absolutely love Star Wars Battlefront 2. Dustin says, I did try the GTA Definitive Update. Oh my god, it's beautiful. 10 out of 10. Is that the one that came out that was the port that was absolutely like disgusting? Like, we're talking the status of Cyberpunk 2077 when that came out. Is that the Definitive Edition? That one? Was that 3 years old? Is that the one that's like 3 years old? Wow, Warwick. Rocco, what's going on? Grove Street removed from the title screen? Oh, did they not? Did they? Those are the ones that did the port, right? World says, I bought the Returnal on sale a month or so back. Haven't played it yet. I have to get on that. That's excuse me. That's basically a backlog, right? This is why people don't buy new games. A lot of people are not buying new games. Lots of people are playing old games, right? Or they're playing games that they not even backlog games. They're just playing old games. They're like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing the game I've been playing, or they go back to the live service game they've already purchased. We've seen it. And there's so many games, right? So many games that come out. It's impossible. It's impossible to play them all, right? First off. And let's just say you're in a niche, right? Let's say you only play fighting games. There's so many fighting games. Let's say you only play first-person shooter games. There's so many freaking first-person shooter games. Well, Game Pass keeps old games alive. PlayStation Plus keeps old games alive. Nintendo Online keeps old games alive. Live service games that are not like old games, but they're like new games, but you keep getting new seasons and new stuff, keep those games alive, right? Then there's open world games or MMOs or online games. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many. Like, right now, Forza Horizon 5. I always forget the name. Forza Horizon 5. My son still plays that. He's been playing it now since it came out, which is what, 4 years ago? 4 years? Still plays that. It's in his daily rotation. Plays Minecraft, plays Forza, plays Microsoft Flight Sim, jumps around. He's playing some Planet Coaster 2. He'll jump back into like, Fortnite or whatever. Even Fortnite, that's 7 years old. Eclipse says, "Yeah, I've been playing Cyberpunk Storytelling. Is really good the game, but I need to beat because Stalker 2 is a huge, and I don't have that much time or hard drive or that much of a hard drive. That's another thing, Eclipse, right? We make fun of people that play on PC where they go from like the Epic Game Store to like Steam, and that's a huge hassle. It really is a hassle on console. You're like, playing this game. Do I want to play this? If I put this on here, I don't have enough room. I can't play it yet. I gotta focus on this. I'm sorry. Did you say Stalker 2 is 149 gigs? Jesus Christ. 149 gigs. Dear Lord. Not only do we not have time to play games, but we don't have time. We don't have the room. You could put like on a 500 gigabyte console, at least on Xbox, right? You could put Call of Duty, Destiny, Starfield, and that's it. And you have to pick a smaller game, maybe like a No Man's Sky, like 4 games on a 500 gigabyte hard drive. That's crazy. That's insane. So instead of like standing up, walking to your box, going to a hard, like hitting the button, taking the disc out, you are now digitally removing games from your hard drive to put the other game in and then waiting for it to download. Amazing. Jack says, yeah, Stalkers almost beat Call of Duty for size. That's insane. Right, you had to remove games just to fit it. That's nuts. All right, let's start off with the first story today. Then we're gonna watch some videos. It's technically the Friday for me because it's Thursday. We don't really do streams. We are gonna do a stream tomorrow, gameplay stream, for members only in chat, but anyone can watch on Fridays. But Thursday is usually our day where we watch a lot of videos and whatnot. Grebsy says you're gonna laugh. All right, let me move this back over here. Grebsy says you're gonna laugh, but I've had Red Dead Redemption 2 downloaded for 4 years. I just deleted it without playing because I needed space for Monster Hunter Beta. Oh my god.
You serious?
You had a game on your hard drive for 4 years and never played it. That's crazy. Marco says, I tried the cloud gaming, but I have 1 gigabyte high speed that I pay over $200 and it still looks and runs bad. That's a shame. Dolphin says there's a new sim game, Console Space Manager. Yeah. It's really insane, isn't it? I miss the days where you didn't have to download it. Just put it in and you're like, well, load screens. I'll take load screens. Load screens gave me a time to go. I walked through a door and I had to wait 15 seconds. I could do this. All right, we're ready to go back through the door. Okay. Like you had a moment. Now it's just constant. Can't pause a game. Amazing. All right. Kylo says, Halo on PlayStation. That does it. I'm done gaming forever. Who said? What? All right, I'm going back over here now. Where's everyone getting that Halo is definitely coming? They didn't say Halo was coming. And even if it does come, Halo has been on multi-platforms for 2 decades. 2 decades. Nobody got upset that Halo was playable on a Mac. Nobody was upset about it. What is happening right now? Does it matter if Halo goes over to PlayStation? If and when it goes over to PlayStation, does it really matter? Kyle says, they just said any games on the table. Yeah. Because they don't want to tell you that not on the table. They want to tell you any games on the table. Which they said a year ago when they said it's a case-by-case situation. Like, MLB The Show is on the Switch. Nobody's complaining about that. No one's going, oh my God, Sony is going to close their doors. It's over. Like, MLB The Show 2024 is on Switch, but no one brings that up. They just talk about the Lego Horizons now, right? It doesn't matter. Xbox just came out with a marketing thing a couple minutes ago. Is it on Twitter? Who posted it? Warrior 64? This is the marketing campaign. Okay, let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. This is the marketing campaign. This is a box. This is a box for your lap. This is a box that tags along. This is a cat box. This is a box that goes on the wall. This is a box that makes calls. This is a bento box. This is a box on the side. This is an Xbox that you wear. This is still an Xbox. So I have a question. What is the problem here? So let me get this straight, Kylo. I understand you're done with gaming, but okay, I'm an Xbox guy, right? I'm an Xbox guy. I'm like, oh, I'm playing Halo on my Xbox. Then all of a sudden, somebody else gets to play Halo on the box that they own. How does that affect me? Let's just say you're one of those people that's like, well, I don't like it because other people, I bought the Xbox because I wanted to play the first-party titles. First-party titles. Someone with a Samsung TV can play the Xbox games. Somebody with a cell phone can play the Xbox games. Somebody that just has a computer can play Xbox games. But if it goes to PlayStation, that's the line. That's the line. I'm drawing right there. Everyone's allowed to play Xbox games except the PlayStation guys. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I just want to know the headspace that the fanboys are in on the other side, right? They're like, ah ha ha. Your games are coming to our platform, so we can give you more money to play it. Okay. Okay. Tell me the downside. Tell me the downside for Microsoft. Mo said this yesterday in Discord. Right? Mo said this yesterday in Discord. He said, yeah, they make fun of Xbox games, but they're complaining that they're coming to the system, and they go over to Sony now. But now, if you're a Sony guy and you're playing like Sea of Thieves, or maybe Starfield goes over there, you play Starfield now, or you're playing Call of Duty, right? Or you're playing Minecraft. Okay, you're playing a Microsoft first-party title over now on your platform, and if you're playing those games on your PlayStation, then you're not playing PlayStation games on the PlayStation. We all have the same amount of time in the day. We all have the exact same amount of time. And if I'm playing 2 hours in this game, then I'm not playing 2 hours in the other game, because it's impossible to play two games at the same time. Okay? So if you choose to play an Xbox game on your PlayStation, Xbox wins. Right? If you play a PlayStation game on Xbox, PlayStation wins. Right? They're making more money in different places. Why? I know there's some of you that don't want to listen to this. Console sales are dropping, and not as many people are buying consoles. At the end of the day, it's all about the money. Once it releases on Xbox game, on PlayStation, they put it in full price. So I think at the end of the day, it's all about the money. That's what it's always been about. From the business side, it's always been about the money. Hence why they give you less product for more money. Hence why there's season passes. Hence why they're taking stuff out of the game to sell you down the line. Hence why it's always about the money. Yeah, Death Stranding just came over to Xbox. Just there it is. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Microsoft didn't market it or anything. They didn't say, "Oh, we got Kojima coming over to Xbox." No, they just dropped it on Monday. They're just like, "There it is. Death Stranding." And everyone's like, "Holy, there was nothing about it. Just here you go, there you go." Like it's nothing. They're just like, yeah, it's just another game. Just another game on our platform on Game Pass. Or $20 or whatever it is. I don't even know. Is it on Game Pass? I don't know if it's on Game Pass. But it's on Xbox. Altered says, so you're telling me blue shirt with PlayStation logo that I bought yesterday is useless? I was about to console war. Look at Sea of Thieves. The game got not getting any more money. It goes to PlayStation. It made $4 million. Yeah. And more people get to enjoy a game that they didn't buy a plastic box for. They just get to play the game. Death Stranding was on Game Pass 2 years ago. Yeah, on the PC, right? Krebsy, was it 2 years ago? But that's my point, though, right? It's not a big deal. It's just another game on a platform. Well, think about it. It's like this, right? Rocco, when you say growing up, it was all about the console wars, right? But now you could care less. Think about, I don't know if you have kids or not, but when kids play Fortnite, okay, think of the console as a skin, right? And when the latest, greatest skin is in Fortnite, you'll see people look at the skins of other people, and they'll go up to them and start hitting them and stuff like that. If you can hear the kids, they'll make fun of the other kid. I can't believe you're wearing that skin, right? This is the latest, greatest skin. But it really doesn't fucking matter what skin you wear. It's just, you're still playing the game and you're still using the skin that you want to use, regardless of what it is. It's the same thing. It's this like, I got the latest, greatest, coolest thing. Look at me. Look at me. I said this yesterday in Discord. I was like, what's worse, right? What's worse? The future of where gaming is going, right? And I've talked about this in the past. I know you're at least new in chat, so I don't know if you've heard me say this, right? In the future, Xbox is going, like, the consoles, they were last place. Facts. They were last place. They said, we're going to take our information and our stuff, and we're going to push it to the future, and we're going to try to be the first ones there in the cloud, everywhere, just like they did with software in computers. They're doing with software now with games on the platform, right? So what's worse? Being a company, being stubborn, staying in the old world, I guess you could say, where console, exclusives, and it's only to 200 million people. Okay? Or adapting and putting it out there where billions of people can potentially buy and play your games. You don't gotta think too hard. You're like, well, if they want to stay there, cool. But let's go 10, 15 years from now. Which one is going to make it? The one that's adapted or the one that's stagnant and just stays there and says, nope, we're staying right here? Now, obviously, I don't think Sony's doing that. Sony is adapting. Sony is changing. Sony is taking their games and putting them on PC. They're changing, putting them on different platforms, right? They've changed. They made live service games where it's everywhere. But they're adapting. They're doing mobile. They're talking about mobile games. They have Destiny Rising. So, obviously, they see the light. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done what they've done. Went from making fun of what you're wearing in school to making fun of what you're wearing in Fortnite. Well, if you notice, I don't know, a lot of schools now, my kid goes to a charter school, so they have to wear uniforms or whatnot. But I noticed a lot of public schools also have like a dress code. Not per se like they have to wear like a uniform, but they only can wear certain things. You know? Xbox is adapting because nobody bought their console. That's the reason. That's even what you guys are talking about. It just jumped in. No, stop, Roadkill. Their console that was competitive only lost to PlayStation. What was it? PlayStation 3 when they had the 360. I think it was like 88 million to 84 million. They only lost by like 4 million copies, like of that range. Okay, but when they went to the Xbox One, they tried to make it the set-top box. Okay, which now it's still a set-top box, and you can still watch YouTube and Hulu and everything else. But that's every console now. Okay, they decided to go the software route because that's what Microsoft did. Right? You can't own Office anymore. You have to rent Office. Okay? You have to pay a subscription model. And that subscription model worked good for them on that side. So like, well, why don't we do it for the gaming side? Why don't they do it for the movie side? Hence why they're the Netflix of gaming. And if you could be the first one in a market, okay? If you could be the first one in the market or be the best one in the market at that time, then when other people start coming in, you're there. Right? Because you're the first one there. Just look at a smaller scale. People on Twitch that were there first are the biggest ones on the stream. There's a couple that came up after the fact, but for the most part, the ones that are the biggest are the ones that were there first. Not so really the best. Krebs says, around here, you're required to either have a mesh backpack or a clear backpack for safety. Yeah, they've changed the rules. I've noticed that because my kid has never gone to public school. He's always been in a charter school for the 4 years that he's been. But I've noticed just talking to other people's kids and stuff like that. They're like, oh yeah, we have a dress code. You have to wear like a solid colored shirt, or you can't wear short shorts. I feel sorry for those kids because when I was in school, the girls wore short shorts. But short shorts, and they have to wear certain things. So it's like a dress code, but not really a dress code. It's what's recommended that you could wear, or highly, recommended. Marco says, it's just incredible to me that first we went from playing online, freaking out when they announced that they were playing online with the cost of money every month. Now we're having these expensive Game Pass and PSN Pass. Right? It's completely changed. The landscape has completely changed. Right? And we were okay. For most people that were playing MMOs back then, we were okay paying $15 a month. That was for one game. Right? One game costs $15 a month. Now you're paying $20 a month. And you have 100 games. And we're like, It's like, I paid $15 a month for World of Warcraft for 4 years. 6 years. 6 years. Okay, when it first came out. For one game. I'm not going to lie. I was struggling with the $15 a month for World of Warcraft. I literally have to do a lot of chores and beg my parents just to get $15 every month. There you go. Right? But now for $20, you get 100 games. What sounds like a good deal? Dustin says, in our school, you can wear anything, but you can't wear anything with drugs or curse words on it. Oh, yeah. We used to wear... I like to apologize from the Gen Xers to everybody else because we got to wear whatever to school. Like, the reason there's rules for you guys now in schools and in the world is it's because of us. We apologize. Not really, though. Yeah, I don't really apologize. Tough shit. Chris says, cloud is the gaming future Microsoft wants to push since they are software based on their own cloud infrastructure. PlayStation's hardware, multimedia based on, they rely on mixed hardware and software. Chris, but here's the thing. Joking aside from Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, like, war going on, the industry will let us know what it's doing. And the industry is doing what it's doing because they're doing it together, right? So... yes, Xbox is a competitor to Sony, and Sony is a competitor to Microsoft or Nintendo, and they're all competing against each other. But the industry leaders decide where they want to go, and the industry leaders are saying that cloud gaming is the future. So all of these companies are going to be moving to the cloud. Sony has their stuff for the cloud. Nintendo has their stuff for the cloud. Xbox is just the one that's talked about the most because of Game Pass. But the industry will let us know, just like the industry is letting us know that digital games, that's where it's going. That's what they want because it stops the profit loss of going second party when you buy stuff at Game Pass or a GameStop or online. If they could get rid of physical copies completely, then anytime someone buys a game, they have to buy it through the ecosystem. Hence why they're getting rid of disk drives. Okay? Hence why the standard is no disk drive, but if you want a disk drive, they sell it to you separately. Because the industry is letting you know what it is. Sure, PlayStation, they're not saying that right now because they're still in the console market. You understand, though, that you guys are playing the cloud, right? That's what the Portal fucking is. It's the Wi-Fi and over the cloud. They sold you a $200 device so you could play the same games that you were already playing in your house. If you don't think PlayStation's moving the same direction as Xbox in the future, like, you're not opening your eyes. Krebsy says Gen X ruined our country. No, Gen X didn't ruin your country. The weak-minded people ruined your country. The Gen Xers just want to be left the fuck alone. We do what we do. We make the money we make. We want to be left alone. Don't fucking bother us. That's it. It's the people that came after like, Timmy's gonna get hurt, so we gotta put a helmet on him. Oh, he got a boo-boo on his we gotta put a knee brace or elbow brace. Can't go outside and have fun. You gotta hold on, Timmy. Let me put a little... The kid's walking outside with a fucking, like, Michelin Tire Man costume on so he doesn't get hurt. We shot BB guns at each other. Nobody complained. No, nobody complained. How many people I see at the park are like, oh, be careful. Be careful on the monkey bars. I don't want you to get hurt. We used to have a thing that used to spin around in the park and launched you off it. Nobody complained. Just stories. Make the character. Sarge says if it's digital, then they will control the price from source. No third-party competition for price. They decide 5-year-old game is still $60, and that's what it is. Yep. DMZ says, or DMX says, the games went 100% digital. Wouldn't that be a monopoly? Or would that be able to be legal since they added on to the consoles? So what happens is there are ways to get physical copies. There'll just be less of it. So the convenience factor of people when they go to the store, they'll be like, oh, we don't have that copy sold, but we could order it for you. We could order it for you. But you're like, I don't want to order it. I'll just buy it online. That's what they do. Right? It just swapped. Before it was less digital, more physical. Now it's less physical, more digital. I don't think physical will ever like leave completely. There'll just be minimal orders. The weak-minded people of Gen X. Gen X started the whole helicopter parent stuff. Gen Xers are not the helicopter parents. Go on, Hilly. Spicy Man says, we need Armor Core 4 remastered. We'll give it time. They'll remaster everything. Chris says, the Portal is me owning a controller or hardware, and it's also software streams to it. Remote play has been around since PlayStation 3. Cloud requires corporation owns everything, and you just rent. Chris, go look up what PlayStation is doing with cloud. Okay? I'm not trying to compete with you to say that PlayStation is doing this and Xbox is doing that. I'm telling you the whole industry is doing this. Gen Xers are the parents of the late millennials and Gen Zers? Sure, but the millennials are the ones that are helicopter parents. Gen Xers are not helicopter parents. Gen Xers, at least everyone that I know, will literally jump off a building right now just because they want to have fun. They do not care. They are not the ones that are going, oh, be careful, Timmy. That's not how that works. My wife, who's born in what is it, 82? So she's a millennial, right? Or that's the one after, right? She's 100% would be a helicopter parent if it wasn't for me. 100%. Oh, I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, it's fine. He's like, Mom, my arm's broke. You're like, yeah, you're fine. Just here. You're good. I just did Mr. Miyagi on you. You're good. All right, thanks, Dad. See you later, son. That's right, Sarge. BB gun fights. The times. How about Peg? Right, you ever play Peg? You guys ever play? The hell was it? It was called Peg. Yeah, it was just called Peg. You have the ball, and you would throw the ball, and if you drop it, you had to run and touch the wall. But if you run and touch the wall, then you were safe. But someone could peg you or sting, yeah, and peg you with stuff. You ever play that with a cue ball? Ever play that with a cue ball? True story. Yeah. Yeah. Helicopter parent Gen Xers. Rock Wars. We just threw rocks at each other. That's right, Dolphin. That's right. And you're younger than me. Yeah, I don't know, Altern. You would have to ask what peg means now. Peg before was throw a thing against the wall. Whatever it was. And then the next person to touch it, you had to either catch it, and if you dropped it, you had to run to the wall, and someone could pick up the ball and throw it at you and peg you with it. I still have right here. There's a indention in my head right here. Goes from here to here. Yeah. And today's Down the Rabbit Hole is brought to you by...
Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole.
Smear the Punk. All right. Let's go to the first story. Okay. Roman candle fights. Oh yeah, we could be here all day. We could be here all day. Roadkill says I used to call it suicide ball. You're up north, right? Roadkill? You like the northeast? Lawn darts? Take a sharp object of a dart, throw it up in the air, and then everyone had to scatter? That was a game. The game was do not get impaled by the dart. Do you understand the games that we played? You take the giant dart, you chuck it up in the air, and everyone just scatters. That was the thrills of it. Amazing. You think those people are the helicopter parents now? The ones that literally took the risks to do whatever they want because they were just having fun. Yeah. All right. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. Talk about gaming news, have conversations about different stories, topics, and whatnot. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay, the state of indie games industry in 2024. Let's read this. This is coming from GameIndustry.biz. We read the article, and I give you my thoughts and opinions on the article as we read it for the first time with you guys right now. Okay. It says we speak to a handful of developers about the challenges of currently facing from funding to visibility and what needs to be done to support them. Okay. So the game industry continues to experience layoffs and studio closures with indie studios such as Black Flag and Studio Thunder Horse. I almost said Thunder Horse, but it was Thunder Horse. Okay, being recently shut down due to numerous challenges over the past few months, GameIndustry.biz spoke to indie developers about the most significant issues of sector faces in today's market and support that needs to be offered to keep indies thriving. The leading issue developers raise is difficulties and secure funding. Okay, the co-founder of a Frog's Refuge developer, Humble Reads, and his notes that especially a challenge is because of how competitive the market is. Says, quote, there's a problem with offering the markets, and there's also a problem with the pricing because of a lot of developers are ready to underprice their games, he explains. Continue his quote, when you combine what is finances, issues, also you have a real squeeze effect, and which is long-term. I mean, you can already see it. Studios closing and people not being able to make a living on a gaming development. Okay. Finji, CEO of Rebecca Saltman, agrees, adding that the pressures of a long development cycle is the size of your team and what is accomplished without burning out. His astronomical budgets don't help either. Continues by saying the quality of the money we have to make from our projects and the finding external funding or marketing partner is often feels crushingly impossible, even for our studio. We have quite of a track record coming out of it, and everyone's feeling it right now. Whether the studio is looking for $100,000 or $10 million, it's really hard. Okay. This is one of the reasons that people are trying to, one, make their indie games by themselves, publish it by themselves so they can get more money, or they do crowdfunding, or they get deals with, the exclusivity type of deal, right? If it's getting on like a PlayStation Plus, or if it's getting on a Game Pass, or where they can get the money up front, where they don't actually have to worry too much then. They can just make the game. And then it gets set because they already made the money. They're not really looking for a profit at that point. They just want to make a game, get the game out there, get the money that, I'm assuming. I don't know if this is how it works exactly, because each one of their, each their own. We've heard Phil Spencer and Microsoft talk about that each one has a different deal type of thing, where they might get 75% of that money up front, and then they make the money off the other ends from other avenues, okay? Or they get the money, and then that's it. They just put it on Game Pass, they get their money, and they can go make the next game that they want to make. It says, as added issues, Finji says that many other indie developers is using third-party engines such as Unity, as it can be challenging to keep it up to date and technology advancements longer and development cycle becomes. Quote, there's often moving targets with the engines, where you can think that there's also everything set, but it becomes games that take too long, and the engine is shifting underneath you slightly, he notes. The fidelity of the graphics has improved by the time of the launch because it will also take you 2 to 5 years to get the same done, especially when it starts factoring in R&D. Another challenge is creative process itself. Every game has a story to tell, and it also has to start somewhere. Well, not every game has a story to tell. I mean, just a shooter, okay? Like, you don't really need a story for that. You just need to have fun doing it. Montreal studio executive producer, process can also be a major challenge for any studio. So immediately, Don't Nod is not too strictly speaking of the indie studio anymore. It's also worth noting that the interview took place at Gamescom prior to Don't Nod announcing the redundancy plan. It says you cannot assume that the first design you make will be the right one. Iteration is key. Technology is always changing. The hard part is ensuring that we can leave the room creativity and also don't delay things or go over budget. And I think that's the big thing, right? A lot of them are going over budget and they're not making the sales that they want to make. Okay. Having a solid creative vision is all well and good, but basically getting into your game out there is seen as no mean feat. Discoverability and overall visibility are something that is also developers express concerns about. Well, here's the thing. Let me try to do an example of... I recently watched a video on YouTube talking about boys that play sports, okay? The likelihood of you playing like baseball, okay, and then getting into the Major League Baseball is like one out of every 60,000 kids, okay? Now, that's extremely difficult. Not every kid that plays baseball in like Little League is going to grow up to be a Major League Baseball player, but they start there, right? And they look at all the kids that are playing baseball across the world, and then as they get older, how finite it is to get into, right? So take that for sports or anything. Actor, right? There's the people that get spotted in a mall or whatever and become an actor. But everyone else that's working their ass off to try to get to that point to become an actor or become a sports athlete or become whatever it is, it's very difficult, right? It's very difficult. This is no different. Making a video game back in the 1980s was much easier than making a video game in 2024, right? There might have been 1,000 games that came out 10 years ago in a year. Now there's 10,000 games that come out every year. Well, we all have the exact same amount of time. Sure, there's more people in the world, but you still have to get yourself and find that niche market that you have. And when your budgets are blowing up and you can't find that niche market, or you can't find your market at all, you have issues because you can't sell. Then you have other games that are going, oh yeah, no, it sold 1.2 million. It's successful. Is it? It's not an indie game. It's a AAA game. If a AAA game only sells 1 to 2 million copies, it's a failure. Hence why most companies now are making multi-plat, because there's not enough people buying the games on the platform that they're on. Okay? So Humble Reads, a co-founder, Melania and Christian, expresses difficulty of standing out amongst so many good games. Hell, not even good games. Just games. Okay? Whether it's digital distribution service or events such as Gamescom. It says it's really hard to stand out at the show your game to the right eyes, Christian says. There's also people that also be interested in your game. That's exactly what I was just saying. Right? You got to find people that like your game, and you got to market it towards those people, but they have to find it. How do they find it? Well, you have to, right? Much easier now than it was back in the day, because back in the day, you would have to do a broad, put it on as many channels as possible to advertise what your game is, right? Or as many magazines so people can see it. But now there's targeted ads. You can literally say, hey, we're making a first-person shooter game. You go to YouTube, you're like, how many people are watching first-person shooter content on YouTube? And they're like, oh, well, this is what the thing is. Like, that's the people that we're going for. And then when you're watching YouTube, you can get a direct ad for maybe a game that you like. Steam does this. Oh, you like this game? Maybe you'll like all these games, right? It's much more fine-tuned today than it was then, but that doesn't really help them either, okay? So it says that really comes down to the marketing, but even the marketing thing changes so fast, and it's hard to know how to reach your audience, okay? They said that the audience has a lot of choice. Even as a gamer, you have so many choices at the end, okay, that you don't know what to choose. So you keep playing same old stuff. That's another great point, okay? So last night, before I streamed, I picked up the phone. I'm like, hey, Sarge, what do you want to play tonight? He's like, I don't know. What are you in the mood for? I'm like, I don't know. We could play this. We could play that. But then we go back to the nice comfy pair of shoes, right? We go back to Star Wars Battlefront 2 because we have fun with Star Wars Battlefront 2. That game is 7 years old. 7 years old, and we're looking for... There's thousands of games. There's thousands of games that we could play and pick up and do. But we're like, we know this is tried and true. We like this game. Let's play it. Let's have fun, right? We're just 2 people that were playing it, right? Then Jones joined us and Dolphin joined us. That's 4 people playing 7-year-old game where all these other games are out here that we're not playing at that time, right? We don't know what's new. We don't know what indie games. We're just playing what's tried and true. The game that we have, we know we like, okay? So it says, echoes that statement, especially when deciding between new game and an old favorite, okay? With old games, you are set for a lifetime. Half of the gamer time is taken up by his games as service or old games. Okay, it's hard for new games to stand out and be shown to people who would enjoy them. That's right, because you're watching this, right? Just take TV shows for instance. Someone's like, "Hey, did you see this show?" I'll be like, "Nah, I'm over here, over on Amazon Prime." They're like, "Oh, well, it's on Apple TV. Oh, it's on Netflix." You're like, I'm okay. I'm okay with, right? That's what happens across the board with all pieces of entertainment. Okay, it says new games get lost in the sea of comparities, and also well known as popular classes, especially on a platform like Steam, which is several thousands to choose from, as mentioned as a CEO, only by midnight. Now, when you look at Steam, you have millions of people logging in and playing the same 16 games like Call of Duty. If you remove that and look at the people who play indies, it's very small. And then all those indies are struggling for visibility. For example, the new upcoming feature on Steam only lasts for a few hours, making games in one thing, but marketing side is extra hard. So, as for the games industry, what can you do to support indies? Okay, highlight as how the events of Gamescom, also indie area booth, a fantastic way to get eyes on the games. Yeah, but that's still just a finite niche of people that are at the con. Okay, and then you're worried. Then you're doing a spread of word of mouth. Okay, it says everything here. They're labors of love. There's real artistry on the display, and they say more innovative than you'll see in a AAA area. But we're all struggling to get eyeballs. So when I see the events of like this and celebrating indie projects, and the indies needs to be put in the spotlight on this neat ideas, okay? As a similar statement, adding that attention needs to be placed on the indie games at the launch in particular. Look, I actually relate to this as a content creator on YouTube. Like, I would be considered an indie YouTuber, right? I'm a small little finite niche community on YouTube, and it's really hard to get out there. You have to do a breakout thing. You gotta go. You gotta have that hot flash of what people want you to see. You get a clip where you say something stupid, and then it goes viral type of stuff, right? That's the only way you get seen. Otherwise, it's a slow burn. Okay, we're all fighting to get our games out there, and games also have been a lifespan. But the real traction you get is really around the launch. And then because there are so many good games, they disappear. Aside from visibility in the industry, can also support indie developers by taking care of the next generation of developers. Okay, this comes from a form of mentorship and guidance. Anyone holding back support needs to be stern, talked to. She says, if you have the space and reach down behind you, the only way the industry will grow and get better and make cooler stuff. If you're also on the shoulders of those of also who obviously are way too busy, probably having families and kids at this point, and bringing a pull of thousands of different directions. So it says we should also be pulled by people coming behind and make introductions to provide mentorships and feedback, and throw our weight around behind projects that also make funding the team and definitely a ship, but also need mentorships and understand what it means. Altman clarifies this, but says that the way the indie developers for some time, but also needs to stay the way that it extends across the industry, not just within the indie scene. Indies also have historically done this quite well, but it's open invitation to everybody in the local online communities to provide mentorships to also have the time. And this is also not telling people what to do or walk alongside a person, or also unbiased feedback and support. I can relate to this in the film industry, right? Coming up in the film industry, being a camera guy, right? Before I could get in there, no one would give me a shot, right? But one person that was a focus puller, okay, and I was just a production PA for camera department, he saw something in me. I don't know if it was a conversation we had or whatever, but it struck a chord with him, and he gave me a shot. And then anytime he got a job, he would hire me to become his assistant, right? And then he taught me, he mentored me, and taught me what was right and wrong to do and what to do in the thing, right? He didn't have to do that, but he did, right? So he gave back to, maybe that's what someone did for him, and he chose me, and then I did it to somebody else. And that's just the way it works, right? So most games, that's what they're talking about with the mentorship and whatnot in the industry. Maybe you're not working, but you have the experience, and maybe you can help someone else, and then they can rise up, okay? So most games, if you put some support behind them from much larger megaphone-like storefronts publishing partner, the game can make a profit. If you put them as assistant behind it, then it's not all of them. But they can also be modest, but modest profits are still profits. And there's also a space where they've been operating in forever. And this is where it comes down to modest profit is still profit, and this is what we talk about, make a game, sell a game, right? Make a game, sell a game. Make a movie, sell a movie. Make a book, sell a book. Whatever. Make whatever you want to make, and then sell that thing. And if it's good, then people will see it, and then you'll start making profit. That profit might not come in the first month. That profit might not come in the first year. But if you stage what you want to do, that profit will come, okay? Let's keep making games, because as long as we make modest profits, we can keep our studios open. We can keep doing this because this is what we are, and we want to have to do, okay? If it didn't, I would retire and do something else. Literally anything else, because it's got easier than this, okay? But that's just it, okay? We talk about it all the time. The reason that Activision and Take-Two and Rockstar are big companies now is because they had successful games, right? Epic was struggling. They didn't know what to do. They were making Fortnite Save the World. It took them 8 years to make it. They put it out. They made a shift. And then all of a sudden, Fortnite exploded 7 years ago, and now they're making trillions of dollars, okay? And now they can do other things because they stuck to their guns. They kept what they were doing, and now they're free to do whatever, right? But if you're a small company, you don't need to make billions of dollars on your project. You spend $100,000, and all of a sudden you made $200,000. Well, now you can reinvest that and make your next game, right? But people want to get rich quick, right? They want to do this and say, "Oh, I'm a millionaire because I've sold this." But that's not what indie developers do, right? Maybe some of them want to make the game so they can make money. Look at Day Before, right? They're still hustling. They're still trying to get in, but they've burned their bridges, okay? So I think this is very interesting, right? We've talked about, was it late last year or early this year? Okay, talking about indie games and how they said it was really hard to get onto like a Game Pass nowadays. And like Tunic, when it got on, it was early days, okay, and it got seen more, okay, but they also put more behind it. Where other games come out and they can't make it for some reason. They're just struggling to get it. We also talked about this other developer on Steam. I forget what battle. He had like some 1v1 game or whatever it was. It was a fighting game. I forget what the name of it was. Night something. And he did such marketing and studied the release dates of so many different games before him, and it all just fell into the right place for him. And when he launched his title, he got extra like advertisement because of just word of mouth or whatnot at that moment. And it blew up, and he made enough money where he can make his next project and so on and so forth. And that's what you have to do. Now, these indie games are struggling because it's just harder. Look at the AAA games that are struggling. Concord, $400 million. See you later, right? Dragon Age, Veilguard, it's struggling. Okay? There's so many games. Battlefield 2042, okay? When it came out, it's struggling. Sure, it probably made millions, but they're not making and these are AAA games. Now you're talking about the indie games that no one ever sees or ever wants to even try, okay? And they just get devoured by new games, let alone the old games that are out there. And then on top of that, because people are playing so many old games, you come out with a new game, but there's all these games here. Your new game just gets thrown into the pile as it just keeps raising. So there's 1,000 games this year, and then 2,000 games next year. That's 3,000 games out in the world that people are still playing. Like, people are playing 6 games: Fortnite, Minecraft, Call of Duty, whatever the other one was it CS:GO or whatever? Right? And it's insane. So being an independent developer is extremely hard, but that's normal. It's normal. Because no matter what you do, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a sports athlete, if you want to be an actor, you're competing against tens of thousands of people to get seen, to get known, to become successful. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think in the live chat. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Roadkill says, instead of having Alice fall down the hole, you should have a like cartoon guy of yourself. Sure, let me take all the money that I have, go hire an artist to create that for me, Roadkill. I'll do that. Yeah, with all this vast amounts of money that I'm making, let me go hire an artist to go make a cartoon for me. Sarge says Thunder Hordes would be a really cool name for an LGBT development team. Budgets are not blowing up. They're absolutely ridiculously bloated. Go on, Argus. Eclipse says, this is what I love about Steam. Without Steam, a lot of indie games would also never be a big amongst the Lethal Company streamers. Would also find them in those games. I mean, look at TCG. Look at TGC Card Shop Simulator. That's blown up. They're very successful for what the price of that game and what they're doing with that. Look at Pal World. Pal World is an independent game. Altered says, to be honest, this year I've only played indie games. Jack says, a lot of indie games are self-published. Their games go on Microsoft, Sony, or any publisher they get on the game that their game shown. Yeah, they're mostly going because there's some like Hello Games signed up with Sony, but it turned out to be a bad decision for them. It hurt them, and they've always been trying to earn the respect of people for the last 6-7 years. You know what I mean? Why, when an artist, when you have AI? Sure, but you still have to learn how to use the AI. And to put the time in to learn to put myself in there, to get it to do exactly what I want it to do all those things, to make a 10-second animation for it, I'm good. I'll just use Alice. Here's what maybe I could do, which would still take some time. I could just take my face, put it on Alice's, and do like a little, you know, like a little cheesy thing. Maybe we could do that, but that still takes time. Because if you can't pay someone to do it, then you got to do it yourself. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you got to teach yourself. And if you got to teach yourself, that's also time away from that. You could be doing something else. Please don't do that. Go on, Mo. All right, do you guys want to watch the working at GameStop is a nightmare, or do you want to watch the Arc Raiders video? Actually, you know what? I'll just do a poll because a lot of you guys don't type. There you go. GameStop Nightmare video or Arc Raiders hands-on video? Yeah, I know it's exactly what you're talking about, Eclipse, but that takes time, man. The one thing that for me, Jax, the one thing for me is that indie games themselves, visually, I'm not asking for like super graphics, but I'm asking for something different. I can't look at the pixelated side scroller stuff, right? Nothing against them personally. I played so many of those games, I don't want to see them anymore, right? I like little things like, if you give me a game like Tunic, when Tunic came out, I mean, it's Zelda, but it looks great, okay? But I'm not talking about, like, it doesn't need to be Battlefield graphics. It just needs to be something different. Yeah, Arc Raiders, yeah. Altern says, I liked Arc Raiders until they changed it to an extraction shooter. Same. When I first saw it, Altern, I thought we were getting another Defiance. Like a Defiance type of game. But then they're like extraction shooter. I was like, Maybe when we watch Force Gaming, he'll change my mind again. See, I wouldn't spend money myself, Dustin, to go play a game I already own. Like, if I want to go back and play, I'll just go back and play the old game. I don't need a remaster, personally, myself. I mean, I basically did a Krebsy. Krebsy has had a game on his hard drive for 4 years and never played it, right? I own this, and I've never played it. It might as well be on my hard drive. I've had it for 4 years. I think I got it. No, longer than that. We got it 5 years. I got this in like 2019 or whatever it was. Never played it. I don't care if you make it super pretty or not. I own it. I haven't played it. I picked up. This is one of the greatest deals ever. Okay. I'm missing a game. I'm missing God of War. I don't know where God of War is. But I got Last of Us Remastered. I got The Show. I got Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War. And I think I paid, I think it was $30 for all of them. Yeah, $30 for all of them. Yeah, never played it. We played God of War. I never played Last of Us either. Never played Last of Us. I watched Carnage play Last of Us when it came out. Because when my son was born, I just didn't have time to play it. So I watched him play it. That's not a deal. You rob somebody. Mo says, don't worry, you ain't missing a thing. I'm basically one of those people, right? I'm not basically, I am. I am one of those people. I own a PlayStation 4. Okay? I played Spider-Man. I played God of War. I played Spider-Man Miles Morales. I played Little Big Planet. And I played something else. Right? Oh, I put in Marvel's Avengers. Okay? But for the first party titles, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, God of War, that's all I played. I didn't play Horizon, and I didn't play Last of Us. I bought them used and still haven't played them. No, that was at GameStop. I bought all 4 of those games at GameStop for $30. And the most expensive one was God of War at $15. So I got MLB The Show, Remaster, and Horizon for $15, and I got God of War for $15. Marcus says, I got plenty of deluxe editions, and I bought, downloaded in full price, never started them up. Well, that's the problem, right? This is why when I buy a game, I play the shit out of it, right? So if I spent $30, I'm going to get 30 hours out of it. If I never touch that game again, at least I got 30 hours out of it. Oh, I'm sure it's a cool game. I just never played it. Brainchild tells me all the time, he's like, you got to play it. You got to play it. I'm like, I'll get around to it. Never played Cyberpunk. He gifted it to me. Never played it. Jason, I feel like I've played it already, though, right? There's a couple games I've watched the full complete playthroughs. I've tried to play Witcher 3 like 6 times now. The farthest I got in was 10 hours. Okay, the farthest I got in was 10 hours. But I watched Carnage play it when it came out. Okay, because my son was just born. I couldn't play games. I was just watching Twitch and watching him play. I watched him play it for 108 hours, right? I feel like I played it. I didn't hold a controller, but I feel like I played it. Same with The Last of Us. The problem with that, Argus, is if I start it, I want to continue it, and I don't have the time for it. Which is funny, because I'll put 100 hours in or 200 hours into like a Starfield or whatever, but there's just something about it. I don't want to start it up yet. Yeah, like right now I've put in I put in 35 hours, I think. 30 hours? 35 hours into Brighter Shores. It's just when something strikes, and here's the thing. The reason I haven't played Cyberpunk is because it came out 3 years ago. I'm just like, I'll get to it. Yeah, whatever. Right? I just watched a TV show. It's got your man in it, Pedro Pascal. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not watching Fantastic Four because he's in it. I'm not paying money to go see Fantastic Four in theaters next summer. I'll wait till it comes on Disney Plus or whatever. Kraken says, "Come on, 30. What? What? Because I haven't played Cyberpunk? Look, it's not my fault. Cyberpunk came out, was broke, buggy, and unfinished. It took 3 years to finish. That's not my problem." Let's see. Right now, I'm playing a little bit of Planet Coaster 2. Right now, I'm playing a little bit of Brighter Shores. Last night, we played Battlefront 2, or Star Wars Battlefront 2. What else? I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 76 still. What else? Played a little bit of Forza Horizon 5 with my son. Played a little bit of Minecraft. Played a little bit of Towerborn. Played a little TCG card sim. That's what I'm playing. I don't got time to add another 100-hour game, story-driven game. Pedro and The Rock need to make a movie. Weren't they in a movie together? No? They haven't been in a movie together? All right. GameStop Nightmare is what you guys want to watch. If you're getting the DLC, the Cyberpunk is next gen only. I have the next gen one, the next gen version. You can make time for Concord. Nobody can make time for Concord, Ron. I still haven't got to 4 yet, Eclipse. I still haven't got to 4 yet. I'm having problems with the with the boss in that area. To get my license, whatever, to get to 4. All right. So this next video we're watching is from Luke Stevens. He's reacting to working at GameStop in reality in a retail. It's a nightmare. Okay, so we're reacting to his reaction, but it's okay. Let me. We've done these before. All right, so let's watch. Working at GameStop and in retail is a nightmare.
Best Buy. I've worked retail. I have a lot of compassion for those of you guys that are still working.
First of all, just let you guys know, I've also worked retail. I used to work at Apple in the retail stores. I used to work at Nordstrom's in the retail stores. I used to sell suits. Okay, I used to sell high expensive suits in Nordstrom's. I also worked in a in like a Starbucks cafe type of thing. What else I did? I worked at a Boomers, which was a like a miniature amusement park type of thing. And what else did I work at? Had lots of retail customer jobs that you always work, right? Never worked in a GameStop, but I never did. I didn't want to work there because I thought it would jade me from video games. And boy, I'm glad I didn't go down that route. I got jaded with video games in another direction.
Working in retail. I think it's important that everybody does at some point in their life because it makes you really, really appreciate, you know, the people that still do work there and the crap they have to go through. And this guy, Lestip, is going to explain in a second why he's leaving leaving GameStop. And it's just about exactly what you would expect. You know, we meme on GameStop because it's like a meme stock at this point, but GameStop is a very poorly run company, and they have been for a long time. But what's crazy is like,
Poorly run company, but now it's cash money because of the new owner from Chewy.
I remember growing up thinking working at like a Best
GameStop should have died. Should have died like 5 years ago. 6 years ago, should have died.
Buy or a GameStop would be super, super cool, right? Because you get the tech, you get probably like discounts on games, you get discounts on consoles, all of that. But what's really like gross is that these executives know that. They know that there's a lot of kids that want to work here because they think it'll be really cool. And so they pay really poorly.
Do they pay poorly? I'm assuming they get minimum wage, don't they? What's poorly? What are they, like slave labor? Like what are we talking about here?
Terrible benefits. They treat you poorly because they know if you leave and you get fed up, they can just hire another high schooler who doesn't know any better.
Well, of course. That's any job. That's the whole tissue the tissue analogy I do. I hold a tissue box up and just keep pulling out. Like you just keep pulling tissues, and the next one's there, they'll take your job.
That's what it was at Best Buy. I worked there, and after like a year or something, they did their review or something, and they offered like a 12-cent raise or something. I don't even remember what it was.
Fuck, I would have loved the 12-cent raise back in the day. I've told this story before. When I worked at my very first job, which was this place called Boomers, I started at $4.15 in 1993. Okay, $4.15. I worked there for 2 summers. Okay, never got a raise. And when they did give me a raise, I finally got, I think it was $4.50. I think it was.
It was laughable. It was hilariously low. And I think at the time I was working for like $10.25 an hour, or $10.50 an hour or something.
What year was this? He's complaining about $10.50 an hour? What year is that?
Like that. It was ridiculous. It was like, are you kidding me? Eventually I got promoted to like VPL, which is vendor paid labor. So I sold Sony TVs, and technically Sony paid my salary to sell their TVs, but I was still employed by Best Buy, but Sony paid for it. So it's like a blur. Like I trained with a guy from Sony. He would bring in like their latest tech, and we would do training specifically with the Sony employee. So we were like Sony employees, but also not. It was weird. If we have anybody that works at like Best Buy, tell me if they still do VPL stuff, because maybe they don't. It's been like 5-6 years since I worked there. But anyway, I did that. Then I moved to Magnolia.
5-6 years since he worked there. So he worked there in 2019, 2018.
Home theater, where we sold like luxury home theater setups. Like we sold the crazy projector systems, the Bowers and Wilkins speakers, all of those amazing things. It's kind of what made me appreciate really high quality audio equipment. Because of all of that, I eat it up. But at least those other areas, they could treat you better because they couldn't replace you easily. Like once you're trained in Magnolia, that's like a multi-month process to like.
No, retail won't pay the mortgage. You got to become a regional manager to pay your mortgage. There's a difference between a job and a career. Never make your career a job, if that makes sense to you. Okay? There's different tiers of life. This is your starter job. Okay? Like coming out of school, you want to do a part-time job or whatever, this is your starter job. Right? When I worked at Boomers, okay, working bumper boats and mini golf and arcade attendant, that is your job, not your career. Do not become a career jobber. That makes sense, okay? You want to go to school or get an actual career. And if you don't want to go to school, then work in the field that you want to have a career in, right? If you want to work at GameStop and your dream is to become a regional manager and own your own stores, then cool. That's a good path. But if you want to be stocking shelves and saying, hey, welcome to GameStop, can I get your pre-order for a power card? That's not a career.
Do trainings and certifications before you're allowed to even wear the black shirt. But at places like the regular Best Buy location, and then at GameStop and all these places, they know that if you leave, they can just get another high schooler, throw them in there, and they won't know any better. And so they like actively do not care about expertise or knowledge.
No, because it's the lowest denominator. You just need a mouth breather to come in and be like, can you work a register? That's all you need for jobs like this. Okay? When you're dealing with customers, you need a little bit more brain power than someone that could just stock a shelf, right? But you don't need to pay someone $25 an hour to go, can I offer you in a, like, no. They got to keep their costs down and make it $10 an hour back in $4 and what? I got to look this up. What's the thing that I can look up? What is it? Where is it? Inflation calculator. Okay. $4.13, or it's $4.15 in 1993. Okay. In 2024, that's $9.03. $9.03. Now, I do understand the cost of living and everything is also high, and it wasn't what it was back then. But $4.15 is $9.03 today. Okay? What is minimum wage right now? I don't know. What is minimum wage? It's like $14 or $15 in Florida, I think. Okay? What is happening? I didn't make $4.50 until 1995. I made $4.50, which calculated now is $9.29. Amazing.
Because they don't care. You're just filling a space. And it's really, really toxic. And hearing this guy describe all this stuff that he's about to go through really makes me go like, okay, yeah, I really don't want to go to GameStop ever again. What do they earn at GameStop? He'll tell you.
GameStop's closing. I imagine a lot of people are wondering why the company itself isn't under yet. Me too. But the issue that I have today is that I came into a note saying we were closing due to staffing issues. And that kind of puts the blame on the employees and not on management. And I don't even mean like local management. I mean district and above.
It's as loud as it goes, guys.
Retail or fast food notes, staffing issues aren't really the issue of the employees not wanting to come in like a lot of people believe Gen Z are.
No, first of all, nobody wants to come in. It's not about Gen Zers, okay? Nobody, when they have a job working at a shitty place, if it's an amusement park, if it's retail, if it's Apple, it doesn't fucking matter. People do not want to come to work.
It's issues with pay.
I was a manager at the amusement park, at Apple, at Nordstrom's. Nobody fucking wants to come in.
To imagine how much an average retail worker or a key holder would get for like an hourly rate.
Everyone in chat right now, what do you think a key holder would be paid within a GameStop?
What's a key holder? Can someone explain to me what a key holder is? Is it a manager, assistant manager? What is it? What's a key holder? Do they get salary? Do they get hourly? Do they get benefits? What do they get? What does a key holder get? Someone who opens and closes the shop. So is it a manager? Is it manager level or just the responsibility? Under the manager, basically. So not a manager. But he has a key. So the manager basically wants to wake up late so he can have someone else open the door so they feel like they have some responsibility. Has manager-like responsibilities, but doesn't make manager wages. All right, I'm going to say $11. I'm going to say $11 is what the key store guy makes.
Top location. I don't know where exactly this store is located, but like your standard place. What do you think a key holder would get?
$11, Trebek. $11.
Somebody with responsibility, somebody who is opening the store and
Let's not make it more complicated than it is. You have a key, you're opening a fucking door. You have the key, you lock the fucking door. Okay?
closing it. What would they be getting per hour? What do you think? What do you think? I see some 10s. I see 12.50. I see 15. I see some 20, 25.
Water. Right now, in the converter that I just put in, okay, I would be making $9.29 when I first started working in 1993. Right? $4.15, right? So if I worked at GameStop, $4.15 in 1993 would be $9 right now. $9 right now. So a manager making $2 more doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $2 more than the person that doesn't have the key.
In Colorado, most retail that's not part of a big corporate chain, you'd probably be getting between 18 and 20.
You got to remember, Water, this is a job, not a career. The managers, the regional managers, that is career. They should be making more money. The worker bees, the worker ants, this is a job. You should not have this as a career. Okay? I know there's people out there that can't get other jobs, but I'm telling you, you got to go get a career. You can't make this job your career. You'll never make it. You'll never fucking make it.
Probably. There's other places, like if you work at a Buc-ee's or something, they pay really well. Starbucks pays pretty well. So Starbucks, you're probably more like, I would imagine 20 to 25, maybe approaching 30.
I can go stock shelves right now. Think about this. Walmart, I think it's Walmart or Target, for stocking shelves pays $22 an hour. What would you rather do? Hi, can I help you at GameStop? Get a power card or go stock a shelf. There's other choices out there.
30. But I think for standard retail in Colorado, you might start to climb a little bit higher. Okay. It's very relative to location. Absolutely. But in Colorado, at least, it's higher. I think our minimum wage has actually just gone up. It goes up in January again. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Colorado minimum wage is $14.42. Okay.
Over here, it's 15. I think it's $15 right now. Might be $17. So if you're a GameStop employee and you're making less than minimum wage to other places, why are you working at GameStop? I'm just saying. Why are you working there if you can go get another job and get paid double the amount of pay that you're getting paid at GameStop?
Okay. That's $11.40 with a 302 tip credit, according to the Division of Labor. So in Colorado, the minimum wage is at like $14.42. Okay. Let's hear what he says his is at.
Think of it. GameStop
Yeah, I'm thinking of it. $11.
in my area averages anywhere from $8 to $11 an hour at the maximum for a
Okay, so I'm in the range. It's $11.
key holder position, and only higher for assistant and regional, or not regional, but like
That makes sense. Regional and assistant manager, whatever, should make more money than the key holder.
regular management. I got paid $11 an hour. I still am for the job I'm
Okay, $11 an hour. That's good. That's still more than minimum wage, right? If he wants to move up in the company, then he has to. You got to put the time in, and I'm not talking like 6 months. You got to put the time in. Okay, I worked at the amusement park for 8 years. Okay, I started when I was summers part-time at 13 years old, 13, 14, 15. When I got turned 16 years old, I got to do full-time, okay, because of labor laws and whatnot. And then by the time I was 18, okay, they made me assistant manager. By the time I was 20, okay, I became the assistant general manager, okay? And then they wanted to make me the GM, but I said, fuck you, I'm leaving, right? But that is 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, right? Like, you got to put time in. You're not just going to be handed something. Here you go. Hey, you want to be it? Like, you have no experience.
doing right now, but I put in my 2 weeks because of a mixture of a lot of issues I've been having with management. Due to a short list, let's just throw it down. Skipped over for a promotion that I was trained for. I was trained, promised the position, was not given it. Lots of really awful customers have been coming in and out, just doing some awful, abysmal shit. I had to deal with a lot of shoplifting, a lot of people who've cursed me out, and
Yeah, I wouldn't deal with that.
Who called me some slurs.
I believe it. We ran into a lot of stuff.
I wouldn't deal with that. Why? You could stock shelves at Target for double your pay, and you don't have to deal with people.
At Best Buy as well. And what was really toxic is there was one guy, Travis.
You're always going to have asshole managers, by the way. There's always going to be asshole managers or people you don't like to work with.
Yes. Really nice guy. He had like the shaved head, but he had a huge beard that went down to like here. And he was part of AP, or asset protection. And he would stand at that like podium between the door that comes in the store.
I think he's making in the video in the store because he just doesn't give a shit anymore.
And the door that goes out the store, and his whole job was to prevent theft. And so he
probably has a good. I would like to look at this. We would have to look it up afterwards. He's probably a YouTuber streamer now, and he's probably got more followers than me. He's probably got more followers than me because of his video inside of GameStop.
He was a wizard at it too. He like knew people's faces from when they came in 6 months before and swiped something, and he caught them on cameras. So he would track them all and all that. But I remember, because when I was there, at some point Colorado like decided to do this new thing where they're like, we're not gonna enforce shoplifting laws because people who are shoplifting are basically misunderstood. Was kind of,
if you are shoplifting, you are a criminal. If you are shoplifting, you are a criminal. Not misunderstood. Okay, in Apple, when I worked at Apple, and this was back in 2003, 2004, we wouldn't stop people from stealing because everything was in the system. So if someone grabbed a laptop and yanked it off the shelf, we could just shut it off. Just shut it off. They have a computer, but it means absolutely nothing. Okay? And then it's a write-off, and that's what they do. So Apple doesn't actually care if you steal stuff because they can just shut it off.
kind of the attitude. And so you were just expected to film them stealing stuff, but you couldn't stop them. And
Jack says, I'm sorry. Say that again? Misunderstood? Yeah. People that steal stuff are just misunderstood. That is a fucking problem, huh?
at one point,
Now, obviously, Luke Stevens is not saying that. He's saying that's what they said.
I wasn't working this day, but there was something that happened where a guy came in and decided he was going to try to lug out one of the big, like 65-inch TVs we had on the sales floor, because we had them like in the aisles and stuff. And this guy just like grabs it and starts like pulling it out the store just to take it out. And like,
Do people just watch this? They're like, think you can pull that TV out? I don't know. Let's grab our phones. Let's videotape it.
the asset protection guys were like, we can't let this guy just do it, right?
No, you shouldn't be able to let the guy just steal a TV out of the thing.
Like, they're just going to ransack the whole store. Like, there's no way. So he tried to stop him. And during this process, he touched the guy. He like stood in the doorway, like arms out, and like the guy bumped into him and he touched the shoplifter. I don't know if he shoved.
You stand in front of the door and say, you can't leave the store. Call the cops. You can't leave the store. And then if the guy touches you, well, then you can sue him.
Him. I don't know what it was because I was not there. But my understanding, what I was told when I came into work like the day or two after, was that he touched the shoplifter. And because they made physical contact, Travis had to be fired. And it was at that.
Travis. Did you say Travis? Oh, did he say his name was Travis earlier? I wonder if it's Travis. Travis not here. Travis, does he live in Colorado? Wouldn't that be great? It'd be great if Travis was the Travis inside the store that was like the bouncer. That'd be fantastic.
At that point where I was like, okay, we're getting real stupid. I think we're getting real dumb. Yeah, in California, you can't. Yeah, it's sub 1,000. I think
there's companies that because of all this looting and shit that's happened, and you can't do anything with over $1,000. It's got to be over $1,000. So there's people. This is how fucking retarded this is. There's stores in California that are tagging stuff that are like $999 for like a stick of gum, but there's a voucher. And if you bring the gum to the counter, they give the voucher so it scans and then it's 50 cents or $1, whatever the fuck it is, okay? Because that's how idiotic it is. Because instead of stopping criminals from stealing, okay, they have to raise the prices to make them criminal acts to then give a discount of 99.9% at the register for what the price actually is.
I think it was like sub $750 or something like that, or $950, something like that. Yeah, in California, you can like shoplift up to close to $1,000, and they do not treat it as like, I think it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah,
is what they treat it as, $950. I saw a video of a store owner, a shop owner, and in California, he treats everything.
He's saying it right now. That's it.
He says all my products prices are $1,000.
Yeah,
for every item, even like.
Think about how ridiculous that is. Everything's $1,000. You don't know what the actual price of the actual thing is until you get to the counter.
Like a pack of gum. But if you're a paying customer, you get a discount down to the actual price. And because he had the official price at $1,000 for every item, if anybody shoplifted it, according to the laws, they could be arrested and charged with.
That's what it should be if it's 2 cents or $200,000. You steal something, you're a criminal.
With it. Which is pretty funny. It's like kind of brilliant, right? It's like, oh yeah, you just get you get the coupon to make the pack of gum actually like $1.50 instead of instead of $1,000. And that was brilliant. But yeah, I can only imagine what it's like now, because it's gotten worse since I left retail, especially in like more
right, Salty. Theft is theft.
Or let's say
no, anything that's cheaper than $1,000, they're misunderstood. Anything above $1,000 is, well, they did it and they deserve it.
Progressive states where enforcement of like shoplifting laws is not been a priority, let's just say. It's caused major issues where I live. I live in like a pretty cushy area, a pretty expensive area, and even like the like fancy schmancy boutique stores where it's some multimillionaire lady's passion project for her retirement is to run this little boutique shop. Even those things are getting overrun with shoplifters and stuff. It's a huge problem all over the place, but I can only imagine what it's like.
One problem is that they're letting people steal. The other problem is that they're letting people steal. Like, I don't understand. What world? Let me ask you something, chat. Let me ask you something. If someone walks into your house and just takes a lamp and then walks out of your house, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to let them steal? You're going to let them steal your lamp?
Like for this guy in a GameStop too.
Honestly, that's any retail position, but it's another reason that led
That's right, Big Box, right? If they steal someone else's stuff, they're misunderstood. If they steal my stuff, they should be arrested.
me to putting in my 2 weeks. But the last straw, the thing that really cemented, hey, you should...
Did he say he's putting in his 2 weeks? I missed it. Hold on one second.
A GameStop too.
Honestly, that's any retail position, but it's another reason that led me to putting in my 2 weeks.
I have a question real fast. I'm not making fun of the guy's look in any way, shape, or form, okay? But if he's an employee at GameStop, why is he wearing that shirt? Why is he wearing that shirt? If I was a manager of GameStop and I walked in and my key holder was wearing a shirt like that, I'd be like, what are you doing, man? Why don't you take yourself seriously and show me that you give a shit about your job? You're wearing a t-shirt at an establishment here that you work at. This doesn't look good. Regardless of the other stuff, just the shirt.
But the last straw, the thing that really cemented, hey, you should get out of here, is when I got to work yesterday, and after working multiple open to closes back to back, my boss told me that they were not satisfied with the amount of work that I had been doing. And because of that, I will no longer be allowed to use my phone anywhere on the floor, which I'm not sure if you know how big this store is. This is the floor.
Okay.
That's it. And then on top of that, no more sitting. We did have a chair that was due to a medical need from my boss. However, we were allowed to sit in it, and somehow it broke. I don't know how. I mean,
I used to have a manager. When we were at the go-kart track. You have to stand, right? I'm standing right now, by the way, right? I stand 3 hours a day, right, in front of you guys, right? My manager doesn't let me sit, okay? But when I was at the go-kart track, there used to be a stool that we brought out, and my manager would just come out, wouldn't say anything. We'd just come up and just snatch the stool and then walk away, right? And I was just like, all right, I'll just sit on the ground. Like I don't need a seat to sit, okay? But I totally get, right? As a kid, I was like, what the fuck's this guy's problem, right? What's the problem with me sitting? Well, the problem is when you're in the store and a customer comes in, especially people that are misunderstood and they want to steal stuff, right? If you don't make eye contact with people that come into the store, okay, they're just like, hey, and you're like this, you're sitting, you're like, hey, what's going on? Cool. Can I help you with anything? You're not engaging with the customer, right? And a lot of people don't understand this, right? If you stare at somebody when they come in, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Right? You make direct eye contact. That person either feels comfortable or at unease, and they'll be less likely to steal shit unless they just don't give a shit, okay? But if you start not hounding them, but you're like, hey, how's it going? You start talking to them, they'll engage with you in a completely different way, right? You'd be like, oh, I'm just checking, I'm just browsing. All right, cool. Let me know if you need anything, right? But you've acknowledged them instead of just going, hey, what's going on, right? How many times have you walked into a store and everyone's like, hey, what's going on? No eye contact, nothing.
I don't mean broke as in exploded. I mean, it's a little bent. But because of that, we're now no longer to sit on the job.
I had the same exact, like,
Everybody does. It looks like you're lazy. That's exactly the reason they'll give you. You look like you're lazy. You look like you're doing nothing. There's always something you could be doing.
thing happen at my Best Buy years ago too, where they were upset that we had little stools at the counters. So even if the store was empty and we were sitting at the counter in front of all the TVs and stuff, they were upset because they said it looked lazy.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Because it is. Because if you sit, you're just like, yeah, this job sucks. Boring. Right? They're not stocking shelves. They're not organizing things. They're not doing price checks of stuff. They're not putting new stock out.
And so they took away
If you can sit, then you don't need to be there.
the stools. We had to stand for our whole shift. And then they said no phones, which was insane because like we had to use our phones to scan tags. Because most of the like really nice TVs we were selling in Magnolia, we didn't stock. Like we didn't keep $20,000 TVs in the back. Like you had to order it. And we did that by having like an app on our phone, and then we would scan it, and then we would take that to the
You work at a phone store, Water.
register and get the SKU and all of that. That's just how it worked. So they told us no phones on the floor anymore. You could tell that this was a policy put in place by an executive who had never worked in the store, who didn't know what it.
Do you know why that policy's there? I'll tell you exactly why. Are you ready for this? The people that are working there don't actually give a shit. The managers actually don't give a shit. But the investors in the company, when they come to a store, doesn't matter if it was this store or someone else's store, they walk in, they'll walk around and go, hey, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then they'll go back to the manager or the regional manager and go, hey, I walked into a couple stores. They don't know that the person that walked in is part of the company in any way, shape, or form. And they're like, this is what I saw. You had employees sitting on their phone doing absolutely nothing, sitting down doing absolutely nothing. Shelves were unstocked. And they're like, well, we have to implement something. And they turn the dial. They turn the dial. And you know why I know this? Because I've been on this side and I've been on this side. It's not that the suits don't know what's going on in the store. They know exactly what's going on in the store. Hence why they put the rules on and go, well, how do we stop this? Because no one likes confrontation. Instead of walking up to somebody and saying, hey, Tim, I need you to get off your phone, all right? Because it looks like you don't care what you do. And they're like, all right, cool. And if they respect and you're not an asshole about it, they'll be like, all right, cool, I appreciate it, right?
It was like to actually do the job, because they're like, yeah, you can't use that anymore. I choke on my own throat. I imagine at a GameStop, you're also using your phone to be like, oh, let me see, you want this game? Let me check real quick if we have it. We could order it. This though is the one you want. This is the trailer for the game you want, when you're helping customers with the games they want. It's so stupid, but this happens all of the time.
I have a question, Luke, if you're saying that. I get that people use their phones. And I'm sure an employee behind GameStop is like, are you talking about this game? And they pull it up on their phone and they show them what it is, or if it's in stock or whatever. But what happens when there's nobody in the store and they're on their phone and the guy's looking at the camera and he's sitting down behind the counter and just staring at his phone? And then the guy comes back out. There's a box on the floor. Hell, there's a fucking ladder in the background. Why is the ladder out in the background? Right? Why isn't that in the back room? You know what I'm saying? Vacuum, sweep, dust, stock.
Retail, where it's these like bigwig execs that have never worked on the floor. They probably have never been in a store. They're making broad sweeping changes like, we feel our productivity is low, so we're going to demand that you do this and this instead. And it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. And it's based on this premise that you can kind of treat employees like cattle. And I just don't think that's true. I'm a firm believer that happy work is better work. If you have happy employees, they will work much, much better, and they'll work for you.
Sure, if they have incentivization to work for you, right? If they have no incentivize and they hate their job, they hate to be there, they're not going to actually work for you. And if they hate what they do, then there's no reason to be there. They're just there to suck you dry for money. So go to a place that you like to work. This is why you shouldn't if you wake up in the morning, chat, no matter what job you do, if you wake up in the morning and you're like, go look for a new job, go look for a new career, pushing you in. There's bad days. There's bad days of anything, right? There's days that I stand in front of here and I'm like, I don't know if I want to stream today. Okay. But if every day you wake up and you're like, ugh, fucking hate work, go look for something that you want to do.
For you, not just like to get the paycheck, but they will work to help the store. They'll go above and beyond because they're happy, because they want to see it succeed as well. When you treat employees like cattle, you shouldn't be surprised when they run from the farm when the door opens. Gate, whatever. I'm not from a farm. I don't know how farm stuff works.
I'll tell you how farm stuff works, Luke. What did you say?
Is when they run from the farm when the door opens. Gate, whatever. I'm not from a farm. I don't know how farm stuff works.
These people wouldn't make it on a farm. No one's giving you pats on the back. No one's giving you pats on the back. You just do the work. Sometimes for free.
That's insane.
Most of the time for free.
It says ex-CV runner. That's insane. I worked with someone who had a stool because they had a seizure and the doctor said they couldn't.
It's exactly right, Water. It's a job. If you don't like the job, go find a new job. Or go decide what you want to be your career.
Stand for more than an hour at a time, and a regional manager came through and was like, nope, can't have that, even though HR and ethics already approved it. Yeah, dude, it's asinine. And since I worked at Best Buy, we had so many layers of like training and expertise. The people that worked there, our average tenure was like probably 2-3 years we had been on the job, and we really knew our stuff by the time we were promoted into like these higher level sales positions.
I'll give you 2 points for that joke. 2 points. 2 points. Nothing more.
Whether it's BPL or Magnolia or whatever. So like you could come in and be like, what's the ohm level on that? What type of, how many tweeters does that speaker have? Whatever it is, I don't even know. Like, what's the wattage of that amp versus this amp? What's the impedance? Should I use this gauge of speaker wire or this gauge if I have these other cables in the same conduit? Like, we knew those answers because we had the experience for it. Nowadays,
here's what type of employee I am. Okay. If I was standing around doing nothing, I would then do research on stuff. So if I had to sell television sets, right? Like, actually, let me tell you how I did Suits. Okay. I worked at Nordstrom's and sold suits. I was the youngest person. I was 20, 21. Everybody else was in their like 30s and 40s. This is their job. Like this was their career. Okay. I was there doing a job. I knew nothing about suits. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The material, the cuts, the stitching, nothing. Right? I was terrible at selling suits. And I was blaming everybody for my sales because it's a shark fest out there, right? Because it's all based on commission. It's all based on commission. Okay. So if you wanted to sell stuff, if you took 2 seconds, someone else would come over. Oh, maybe you would like this. They would steal your customers. Okay. Everyone that was on the work floor was literally against each other. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm getting killed. I'm not making any money. I'm just making the minimum wage and not making anything else on top of that with sales. So what did I do? I started learning stuff, right? And this is before the internet on the phone. Okay. So I read lots of books, learned about the quality of cotton, the different stitching, the different types of suits, the shoes, the thing, everything. Okay. In about 3 months, my sales went from shit nothing to fucking top salesman. Okay. I loved it. And I loved it because I knew what the fuck I was talking about. I wasn't sitting on a stool. I wasn't looking at my phone because you couldn't look at your phone. Okay. At that time. Okay. You learn what you're doing and sell it. How many times you guys go to like Home Depot or Best Buy and ask a question and everyone's like, I don't know. Go to Walmart and ask a question. Oh, I don't know. Like nobody knows shit about nothing. It's like, why do I even show up to a retail store now when nobody knows anything that's in the store? Hey, I bought this. What can I use for this? I don't know. Let me look that up for you. I don't need you to look it up for me. I'm asking you a question. Do you know your product in the store that you're in? If the answer is no, then you need to fucking get off the chair, get off your phone, and start learning shit in the job that you have.
You walk in and you're dealing with a bunch of people who have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm sure there's some people who are very qualified, but most people at like my Best Buy locally where I used to work, they're just like, they have no idea what they're doing because they are just there to like move boxes and grab stuff for you. They don't know anything about the tech because Best Buy doesn't want to pay them to learn.
I don't even go to Lowe's or Home Depot anymore, Water. I go to Ace Hardware.
Like they just want the cheapest labor to just move boxes from point A to point B based on the online sales, and that's it. And it's just sad because
if you want to be, if you don't want to be considered cattle, then step up. If you don't want to be a person that's not respected, then step up. It's not handed to you. You want to be a brain dead person working there thinking you're automatically going to get there because you were there for 6 months. You're mistaken. Get up, some confidence, stand up, do your job, and someone will go, hey, this guy fucking knows what he wants to do. And then they'll promote you.
It is ruining all of them. Like, yeah, short term, they're getting maybe some better revenue. But long term, I think it's just going to destroy the value of the location.
And when you're working in open to close, that's kind of a lot to ask. And
no, that's the minimum to ask. That is the job.
And I think I'm over it. Yeah, that was the last straw. So to my boss, that is most definitely watching on me from.
He's watching right there. Why is that box on the ground? Why is that ladder in the background? Why is there shit on the ground? Like, vacuum, pick up the box, and put the ladder away.
That camera. I hate you, and you have been an awful, awful boss to work for. Through a mixture of things, I would say the worst of them being promising me the promotion and then saying, well, the store we're partnered with needs an assistant manager, but even though you're the only permanent employee, we will not.
This is exactly why you're not allowed to have your phones on the work floor. Just saying.
Not be giving it to you. And honestly,
Wait, what did he say?
Saying, well, the store we're partnered with needs an assistant manager, but even though you're the only permanent employee, we will not be giving it to you. And honestly, that $3 or $4 raise might have been enough to keep me. I'm not going to lie. The boss in question, by the way, being my district manager. My actual manager tried really hard to keep this place going, but there's only so much one person can do. We got some other issues. We have a mouse issue. There's several mice in our drawers that keep ripping up paper and leaving shit pellets all over the place.
So what are you doing to fix it? What are you doing to fix it? Are you waiting for someone else to fix it? Are you a doer? Or are you going to wait? If there's mice in the store, what are you going to do about it? I know the answer. It's not my store, so I'm not going to worry about it. I asked the managers. They have done nothing about it.
That's another big reason I'm leaving. Lastly, this is our bathroom. I think this is a really good qualifier for...
It's a bathroom storage room.
Oh,
Bathroom looks disgusting. I wouldn't take a shit there. But, I mean, if I had to go, looks like they do. They have spray. Well, actually, that's the foam stuff. Okay? But if this is the bathroom and you don't like it, clean it. Exactly, Sarge. Clean it. If you don't like it, clean it. You're not above that. You're not above cleaning. Clean it. You don't like it, clean it.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, it shows the care they have for their employees. You can see the mouse crap on the floor too. Jesus.
Right, so yesterday's video about how much I hate GameStop blew up.
This is day 2 at GameStop. Oh, you got the vacuum out. The vacuum's in the background now. Got the vacuum out. And why are you... I don't understand. Why are we dressed like this at work? Is this your day off? I'm confused.
A lot more than I think I was planning, so I'm going to make a part 2 to just kind of clear some stuff up. We'll do the important stuff first, and then we'll do some funny stuff at the end. The first thing that I got repeatedly is, why would you put in your 2 weeks? Truthfully, my actual manager, my direct manager in the store, tried really, really hard to keep this place going.
I just noticed this. In the upper corner, okay, it says why I quit Domino's Pizza. Why I quit GameStop final part. The dude can't maintain a job. But it's not his not his fault. It's everybody else's. I feel like we're talking about Bungie here.
As well as it does, and she's also just as run
I guarantee you this guy's got more subscribers than me.
down as I am, and I wanted to give her the respect of not adding more to her plate. Even though I hate it, but you know, also my dad's an immigrant, so I've kind of got that no matter how bad your job is, give it the good honorable send-off kind of
I would like to shake your dad's hand.
thing.
I think that's just called being a decent person too.
Yeah, of course.
I as much as a...
Although, if I quit my job, I wouldn't make a video of it. I also wouldn't be like Don Lemon on Twitter and say I'm leaving Twitter. You just fucking leave. You just leave. But you're doing this as part 2, part 3.
Some jobs deserve you to just walk out, to be clear. Like some jobs, I think that's totally fair after how they treat you and everything. Like I've seen those posts of people like boss.
They didn't give him the manager job because they saw his why I quit Domino's video. Do you think that's what it is, Z?
Is saying, oh yeah, you had a family member die, but you didn't ask for this time off ahead of time, so you have to come into work still. Like those people, like, go screw yourself, dry up. Like I totally feel that. But
For what do you say?
Treat you and everything. Like I've seen those posts of people like bosses saying, oh yeah, you had a family member die, but you didn't ask for this time off
Well, that's just a complete fucking asshole. I mean, come on.
At a time, so you have to come into work still. Like those people, like, go screw yourself, dry up. Like I totally feel that. But I think it's respectable to put in 2 weeks, and because it's not about the district guys. You're not showing them respect by doing it. You're showing, you know, your direct superior who he said, you know, he's been rooting for. I think that is respectable. You know, I think that's impressive.
Another sentiment that I kept getting in the comments was stupid old Gen Z complaining about not getting on their phones.
No, I mean, I don't care about Gen Z. That's anybody. That happened back, you know, if you sat down, you look like you were lazy.
And having to stand like we did back in 1972. Yeah,
walking backwards uphill in the snow.
I mean,
with no shoes on. Yeah,
jobs used to be a lot harder in a lot of different ways, but also we do similar work for equivalently way less pay.
I'm sorry, did you say similar work? Similar work to who? Wait, would you believe me, Chad, if I told you streaming was hard? Okay? You would laugh at me. You would laugh at me. Okay? I've worked in retail, right? It's exhausting to talk to people, right? It's exhausting for those interactions and whatnot, walking around, moving around. But like, have you ever been on a roof? Have you ever been a roofer? You ever dig a ditch on the side of a street? Did you ever have to move cows from one part to another when they don't want to move? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I find it funny that he says it's comparable to what they did in the past. You are here in the future or in the present because of the people, what they did in the past, what makes your life much easier today.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that $11 an hour 50 years ago is not the same as $11 an hour now.
$11 an hour. How many? Did he say 50 years ago?
$11 an hour 50 years ago is not
50 years ago. A lot of people didn't get paid $11 an hour.
Not the same as $11 an hour now. Inflation and like forced rising in cost has like definitely absolutely obliterated the dollar. Especially after the gold standard was lost in America's history. But also, it's okay to like ask for respect, or more or less demand respect when things are due. The shirt that I had on yesterday and the hat.
You can't demand respect. You can't demand respect. You earn respect. Respect is earned.
That I had on here is for the Louisiana-based alternative and death metal band Brat. They're really, really good.
We're advertising bands now.
I think they're awesome. Their lead singer specifically is really funny. Honestly, here, all the guys I was told I look like in the comments section, mainly Mexican OT and Meat Canyon. I'm noticing the overarching theme is like overweight and like curly mullet.
Yeah, I don't care about your overweight.
Kind of bad facial hair.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's about accurate. I keep getting asked, is this like a wig or a perm? Do I do something weird to my
It doesn't matter if it's a wig or a perm.
hair? I'm just Moroccan, guys. That's what Arab people look like, and we have hair like this, so I don't do anything special to it. That is just what it looks like.
I'm just Moroccan, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I mean, thinking of that, like, if he's making 11 right now, $11 an hour in 2024 has the same buying power. I want to see what it was like when I was working there. Okay, we'll say like 2018. So he's making the equivalent as if when I worked at like Best Buy, if he was making $9 an hour. And at the time,
which he's making 11. He's making 11, which is $2 more than what it would be.
I started at Best Buy. Actually, that was probably, I think that was 20. When would I have started at Best Buy? Maybe it was back at 20. I think it was 27. I'm not sure. Either way, like when I was at Best Buy, they offered me like $10.25 or $10.50 or something, and that was considered like not great. Even then, like I know in some states it's different, but in Colorado, with cost of living here, even back then that was like not great. So to see that in 2024, buying power wise, he's being paid the equivalent of that back when I was working at Best Buy there, it's crazy. That's kind of what it takes. Is it takes everybody quitting, and it takes everybody being like, no more of this, dude, for change to happen and for these companies to kind of be forced.
The companies are never going to change. The companies is a tissue box, and they're going to keep pulling the tissue box. There's always a brand new person that'll work for that, and when they get tired, they move on and they get the next person. Okay? This is not a career. Now, if you want to make it a career, like I said in the beginning, then you got to work. Again, when I worked at the amusement park, I worked there for 5-6 years before I got a managing position, assistant managing position. Then I got a general assistant manager position, right? And then the only place for me to go was that position, which the person in front of me. And I went, do I want to do this? I said, do I want to do what they're doing at this age? Now, I was 20 or 21 years old. And I looked at them, and they were like in their like mid-40s, where I am now. And I was like, do I want to do what I'm doing now when they're that age. I said, no. I literally quit at that very moment. True story. Walked across the parking lot. Okay. Walked across the parking lot. Went to the movie theater. Got a job as a telephone caller where they pick up the phone to take people's reservations. Okay. I worked there for 2 weeks. They promoted me to assistant general manager for the upstairs premium. I worked there for 6 months, and then I went back to tech school, and then I worked in the film industry. At that moment, I went, I don't want to do what that person is at this age. I want to make a change. And that's what you do. You just do it. I was making $22 an hour at that point. $22 an hour in 2001, 2002. Let me see. 2001, I think it was. I was making $22. Same company. I started at $4.15. That'd be considered $39.07 today. I was making good money. I said, fuck it.
Forced into.
All right. Going on to the next video. One of the hardest things I've ever done. Roadkill. I did part-time. I did a roofing job for literally 2 days, and I went, no. I did drywall for like a week. I did tiling. Now, I don't regret those things because now I know how to do a roof. Now I know how to do drywall. And now I know how to do tiling. And I got paid to learn instead of going to school to learn. Yeah, it is. It's still open.
All right, so I got some pretty...
All right. This is a 20-minute video. We're going to 1 o'clock today. Sarge says this will pay you low as you can. There's no minimum wage laws. They would pay you nothing. Yeah, absolutely.
cool stuff for you today. Last weekend, Embark Studios ran an early test for their upcoming game, Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders I was very, very interested in when they first showed it. I thought it was going to be like a Defiance type of thing. Open world, co-op type of game, right? Destiny-esque, okay? And then they switched it to an extraction.
Well, I got to spend some time playing it over the course of a couple of days, and now as of...
It says Game Award nominees will be revealed at noon on Monday. Nice. Sweet. We'll be live for that, so we're good.
Today, the verbal NDA on this test has been lifted, so I can share with you information about the game and talk about my experience. However, unfortunately, no gameplay recording was allowed during the test. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure why this was the case, because the game ran well, it seemed quite polished, and I don't think we saw a single bug in the whole...
Looks good. It looks good. But you just told me that it wouldn't let you capture footage. Why? What's wrong?
Whole test. But regardless, the good news is we still can talk about the game, and I do have a couple of matches worth of new gameplay B-roll, so we're going to run that while we're talking about things here.
See, this would have been my new division. This would have been my new division, but now it's an extraction shooter, and I don't give a shit.
Okay, so what is Arc Raiders?
Unless he changes it. Unless he changes my mind again.
Well, when it was first revealed back in 2021, this was a looter shooter, but that has since changed, and it is now a PvEVP extraction game. Now, fortunately for me, I like both of these genres, but if you were hoping for a looter shooter similar to The Division,
Yeah, if it was a looter shooter, I'd be all in. Now I'm a little skeptic.
Warframe or Destiny, well, that is just no longer what they're making. And as an aside, I will add that I am a little bit disappointed with this shift in direction. For one, because I enjoy looter shooters, so I would have liked to see a new one of those. But two, because from what I've played so far, this game actually seems pretty good, and the PvE side of things in particular seems quite fleshed out with a bunch of varied, interesting enemy types and a cool world that I think it would have very well made, or could have made at least, a great new installment into the looter shooter genre. But alas, that
yeah, I played a lot of it. Yeah, we have over 100 hours in it.
Just that alternative reality doesn't exist on this timeline, and what we are getting is now an extraction game. Like I said, I enjoy these as well. I just would have also enjoyed seeing the looter shooter version of what Arc Raiders was supposed to be. Now, with that out of the way, though, let me just say, it seems like a pretty darn good extraction game from what I've played over this weekend. I was quite impressed with the preview, just about everything about it, from the overall gameplay and the design to the visuals, the animations, and even the game's performance. Everything had a high degree of quality and polish across the board. I mean, I really enjoyed, I had a blast playing this game over the past couple of days during this test, and this has convinced me that I will certainly be playing it once again whenever the next one rolls around or come the official release. From my time with it so far, Arc Raiders is looking pretty darn good. So let's talk a bit about the game.
That's good. I'm just not interested in extractions, man.
The basic structure and gameplay loop you'll probably be familiar with if you've ever played any extraction game in the past. You will drop in with a starter set of weapons and consumables. You'll scavenge looking around the environment, searching for loot, resources, and weapons and gear. You'll fight enemies, both PvE with various types of robot drones in this game, as well as, of course, other players because it is PvE-VP, and as of now, those other players will come in group sizes of up to 3. Audio plays a major role. Every single action, movement,
So it's like the DMZ, basically.
opening containers, attacks, everything has a distinct sound associated with it. And as such, the more you play, the more you learn what everything means. And this is going to help aid you in either attacking, hiding, or running from other players. If you survive and manage to extract without dying, you will then keep everything that you collected in the process. And then post-game, you unload all of your winnings into this stash. Then you pick what you want to bring with you into the next round. And then you queue up to go again, rinse and repeat. That is the general gist of it. That's very similar to a lot of extraction games. Now let's talk some of the things that are really specific to Arc Raiders. For one, the game setting and the general vibe of it is all heavily inspired
They got rid of all those big boss battles and stuff? I hope not.
by popular science fiction from the 1970s. You can see this most clearly with the character designs, the outfits, and even the color palette screams 70s. Gotta say, I like it. A little bit of a different setting than what I'm used to playing in. I think they've done a pretty good job here. The PvE enemies in this game are also rather unique. They're called the Arc, and this consists of a large variety of different robots and drones. There are tiny spiders that will jump up and cling to your face. There are small flamethrower balls that'll roll up to you, open up, and then blast you with fire. There are larger spheres that will spin up and charge at you at high speed, leaving a trail of flames in their wakes and then running into you. There are much bigger spiders that have like a bunch of lunging attacks and just are menacing on their own. And then there's numerous flying drones with several types, each having their own function. You'll see ones with assault rifles that shoot tasers that will stun you and lock you in place. There are ones that have rocket launchers attached to them. And then there's even alarm drones that will scan the ground in a large vicinity, and if you are spotted, they send out a beacon which then summons reinforcements to your location. If you don't get out of there, you're going to be under a lot of fire very quickly.
I'm getting a little bit of vibes of No Man's Sky with all the fucking drones. Okay? Lots of drones. Like, is there any other villain types?
Quickly. Now, by themselves, these enemies all pose a threat. Like, even those tiny spiders that cling to your face can be a huge problem if another drone is accompanying them, because that clinging to your face is basically a hard crowd control until you get them off, making any other enemies around you having an easier time of killing you. But then also, while you're fighting these PvE threats, you're going to be creating a ton of noise, both from the gunfire from yourself, but then also the drone that's attacking you back. But then on top of that, the drones make all sorts of loud beeps and boops that will alert any nearby players to the fact that you are engaged in combat, because by themselves the drones aren't attacking anything unless there's another player that they spotted and are going after. So if you hear drones attacking and gunfire, that means players are in that area as well, and that draws people to that location. In fact, in nearly every case, if we were fighting these PvE enemies for more than like 20 or 30 seconds, other players would inevitably roll in to join the drones, that is, in attacking us. So typically, we would want to either avoid or dispatch of the PvE as soon as possible, and then leave the area before anyone else shows up. Or you could make a bunch of noise and then wait until other people show up and try to catch them by surprise. All sorts of play and counterplay here. But even just engaging,
It just sounds like two. I know that there's a whole bunch, right? Because if the drones do nothing, until you attack them or until they see you or whatever, and then they attack you, and then other people come to attack that. You can make noise and then bring the other people in, but all right, that's it. Either you attack first or attack second. What other options are there?
With the PvE threats alone is interesting. The PvP side of it notwithstanding. Like, beyond them each having their own function and weaponry, they all also respond and engage differently. As I said earlier, there's enough depth here that it really makes me wonder what could have been had they continued forward with that originally planned looter
Attack third.
shooter version of the
Which is the same as the first and the second.
game. I think probably what's most impressive are like all the movements and
Right, Sarge. The game loop is waiting to attack or bait an attack. Right. Be passive, sneak around and find stuff, or guns blazing and fight and then lose your shit, or high risk, high reward, or stay silent.
physics of this stuff, like the tiny spiders skittering along, the way the fire sphere drone spins up and accelerates towards you, the flying drones tilting as they speed forward in a direction and then swaying, rocking back and forth when they adjust angle to quickly stop themselves. Equally as impressive are the animations when attacking these things. They all appear to impact in a very realistic manner. Like, you can shoot one of the fans off of a flying drone and they will spin out accordingly, even carrying momentum with them if they were quickly flying in a direction. Then they'll sort of move in all sorts of angles and spinning around.
It looks
in circles.
good, man.
It's just
It does
really,
look good.
really impressive. Same goes with like shooting the legs off of one of the larger spider drones. They'll stagger and stumble in whatever direction they were moving as well. And across the board, we saw many similar contextual reactions and animations in the game. The whole thing coming together to create like a very realistic appearing setting. Let's talk about the map and the area that you're going to be exploring, right? So beyond the training tutorial, there are 3 maps available in the game currently, each of them completely unique, handcrafted locations with distinct environments and points of interest. First, there is the dam. This is a swampy region with lakes, rivers, and of course, there's a huge dam located right in the middle of the map. And then beyond the dam and all of its associated attachments, there are many supporting buildings, and there's even these research domes scattered about mainly in the swamp area. The second map is the spaceport, made up of rolling
Doesn't this feel a little bit, and again, I didn't play the other one either, but it's just a different setting, but it feels like the day before. And I'm not saying the day before as being like it's a scam or anything like that. Like, that's what it feels like. That day before was that you're there trying to scavenge stuff, and then instead of drones, there were zombies, right? And then there was the other team of 3 or 4 people that were coming to attack you. It's this desolate town or city. I don't know, man. I think they could have done better with the live service aspect of it. I mean, it's still technically a live service game. It's just not a looter. It's an extraction.
hills and plains. There's a space shuttle launching tower in the middle, and then all sorts of large manufacturing and maintenance buildings all around the map. And then there is the buried city. This is a city in the desert, partially buried by sand. It's like a mini city / suburban area. There's train stations, a town hall, there's an entire residential district, a library, and a hospital. And all of the maps are fairly large. I think the smallest one was the buried city, but even that seemed decently sized. And again, each one of these maps, beyond like in their own areas, they come with their own unique points of interest. Some of these buildings are just
there's gonna be multiple
massive.
maps.
Just in general, this game makes great use of
just one
and
map
has
with
a
different
lot
regions.
of vertical space. Now, every point of interest on your map can be highlighted, and it's going to tell you the basics of it. So it'll say what sort of building it is. It'll give you examples like raider, tech, mechanical, industrial, and so on. There's quite a long list of these categories, and each of them coincide with specific types of resources and items that you will
I used to own that car. It's a Honda.
find inside, and all those resources and items play into the
I had
game's
two-door
crafting
hatchback, though, not a
system.
four-door.
It's also going to tell you the current arc presence at any of the points of interest. This will either be low, medium, or high. These are color-coded as well, and it basically translates to how many of the arc, the PvE enemies,
Eric.
are there in a location. The higher the presence, the more numerous and deadly that area is. And then also on the map are going to be several of the marked extraction points. So these come in 2 primary forms. They're static. They're always in the same locations on every single map. There are group extraction locations. This comes in the form of elevators and metro stations. And then there are solo extractions via these hatches that require a key for you to enter. The group extractions, you just have to walk up, you hit a button, and then it's gonna, after some countdown, open up and allow you to step inside, and then you can close it to begin the extraction. Obviously, as you assume, while this is all happening, the thing's making a bunch of noise, which will draw both the PvE enemies as well as other players. And speaking of keys for the solo extraction thing, there's also in many of the points of interest.
It's a good question, Crowded. Are people going to leave Hunt Showdown or Tarkov for this? I think a small percentage would try it. I don't know if they stay or if they go back to what's there, right? So this is another thing we don't talk about, where Tarkov's been out for years now, so they've flushed out what they want to do. Where this game comes out, it has to do what those games are doing right off the bat. Otherwise, people will play it, they'll like it, they're like, I'm gonna go back over here until they make some changes and whatnot.
There's these loot rooms that are locked and require key cards to enter. You'll find these elsewhere as you're just looting containers and exploring the open world. When you have a key card, it's going to tell you what room, at what point of interest it goes to. You make your way there, you use the card, you open the room, and this is where you're going to find a lot of the highly...
This is the problem with other fighters, like other hero shooters and stuff like that. It's like a new shooter comes out, and it's like, oh, is it going to be good? Or is it going to pull people away to keep them over here? Or are they just going to come try it and then go back to where they came from? We know the answer. More people are playing just those 6 games than going to play new games.
Valuable rare loot in the game. Also, a couple of other things that we noticed while we were playing. There were some events, although we've only seen one so far. It's the drop pod event. You're going to see a thing fall from the sky. You go to its location, open it up, and there's some resources inside. Lots of environmental stuff. It looks like the game has a day-night cycle as well as weather. So we noticed like morning turning into evening and then full-blown night. And then we've noticed various weather effects. It can be lightly raining or even full-on thunderstorms where it's really dark and torrential rain with lightning going off. And all of these things will not only affect the lighting and how it looks around you, but also things like visibility and also the audio that it creates, which impacts whether or not you can eat more easily or if it's more difficult to notice other players. Speaking of which, of course, there's PvP. Right now, it looks like it is fully trios. You can still queue in as a single. Or
then you have Marathon on the way, and then the shooting in the game is going to be put all this to shame. Right, that's another extraction coming out, right? Marathon's supposed to be an extraction. It'll be a very saturated area in just a year.
Be up against trios. This is actually probably my main point of early feedback so far, is that I would like them to add different hoppers, and they may very well already be planning on doing that, but because this test was so limited, I think at its peak, there was like 2,000 concurrent players when I looked on.
Do people still play Vigor? Right? Vigor was another one that was an extraction shooter, wasn't it?
SteamDB. So I hope that they're just going to do this in the background. Maybe it wasn't in full effect here because it was a much smaller player base than what they're expecting at release. But yeah, anyway, PvP, you're going to be coming across other players all the time. As an extraction game, you're going to really want to prioritize listening to hear when other players are around, to hear when they're engaged in combat, but then also minimizing the amount of noise that you're making if you're trying to stay hidden. You can go in guns blazing if you're looking for fights nonstop. That is certainly going to be happening. So other players are going to be around the map looking for loot. I couldn't get a sense at how many players there were, but pretty much every single match we would get in at least 2 or 3 gunfights with other groups of players. So it seems like they filled up the maps enough that you are regularly getting in battles. If you come across them, you'll almost always fight. In fact, I never came across an instance where there were other players trying to be friendly. They come to you, they're going to shoot you.
Oh yeah, no, it looks great.
There is a down but not out mechanic.
I'm not doubting that. It looks phenomenal
in the game, so this does give you a chance to revive teammates if you get in like a medium or a long distance battle and they can get behind cover. Once they're downed, you can bring them back and have them rejoin the fight. If you get fully downed and you are eliminated, you drop everything. The only exception is you have a single slot safe pocket that you can put certain valuables in or whatever you want, really. But pretty much everything that you're carrying, your full equipped inventory, your weapons, your armor, as well as everything that you're carrying in your stash, all that will get dropped, and you'll lose it if you happen to die. So yeah, full-on extraction game. You want to pull stuff, but you want to survive and extract safely. Now, it is worth noting that there are quite a few extraction points on the map. Every single map will have several extraction points, both the group extractions as well as the...
Oh, there's the other gameplay mechanic. Remember in Division 1, and I didn't play much of DMZ in Division 2, or the Dark Zone, I should say. People would just wait at the extraction points with higher gear and then they would just nuke you. Okay, that's always that's the third. Go search for the stuff silently. Go search loudly for the stuff, or just sit back and wait for people to bring it to the extraction point and then murder them there.
Those solo hatch extractions. One thing that we noted is you can actually have very short matches. Like there are many times where we would drop in, we might get in one fight.
I've never played Tarkov. I played other extractions when they were doing the little game modes in other games box. Never played Tarkov. Just doesn't appeal to me. The other things that like Dark Zone and stuff like that, I've played the extraction type of shooters. The PvP, it's really hard to balance, especially with certain people get better gear, and if you go in, it's almost like Sea of Thieves, right? Sea of Thieves. If you come across a group of people that are just really good at being pirates, and you're out there scavenging all the loot, you're out there for like an hour or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you're on your way back in, people just gank you and take all the stuff. You become like distraught. You're like, this is not worth my time. Okay. Sea of Thieves has changed it over the years because no matter what you do now, you're progressing on something with the Pirate Pass or the Emporium, whatever the fuck it's called, where you're getting a little bit of gold, you're getting a little bit of XP, so you're not losing everything anymore, right? My problem with extractions is what I really liked was in Division 1, where you did the survival, where you all started the exact same, ran in, and then see if you can complete it and whatnot. That was one of my favorite modes in any game. I loved it. What I don't like about extractions, when we play the DMZ and Call of Duty and whatnot, it's just like, if I have all my stuff and then all of a sudden I die, it's worthless. It's nothing. You have nothing to show for it. You're just like, just go back in. I played Vigor. Just never landed with me with these types of games. That's why I'm not really excited that they changed it from what it was to what it is.
Loot a group and be fully equipped with everything that they had. We would kill them. We would pick up everything that they collected, and we could be in and out of a match in under 10 minutes easily. I think some of our matches were under 5 minutes. We would drop in, hear people, go fight.
No, you have to extract, Water. You have to extract.
Kill them, loot them, and then go straight to an extraction, because there are several extractions. They're scattered all around the map.
That's the whole thing about the extractions, Water. So if I find this, let's say a legendary gun inside the thing, if I extract it, it's mine. Now it's in my thing. Now I can bring that into my next one, but if I lose it, then I lose it. Someone else gets it, right? That's the whole thing. The loop is go in, find cool stuff, take it out, then decide what you want to bring in with your build. When people start getting bigger builds, you're never going to do anything, because if you're a brand new person, right? I don't know how their matchmaking is working and stuff, but let's talk about like a month from now, right? A month in the game, game's been out for a month. Lots of people will have better weapons than you to bring in, and they'll murder you in 2 seconds. And then you'll be like, I don't really like this.
Basically, it's like you drop in on the edge of the map, and then you go towards the center, and then all of the extraction points are sort of in a ring.
Yeah, when you're a winner, it's fantastic. When you're a winner, it's fantastic.
The edges in the center, right on that outer area. But anyway, yeah, you could just get really quick matches in this game, which is something that
if they can make it feel like, if I get all this gear inside this game, but I lose it, and there's some sort of path that I still getting XP to go up and whatnot, cool, because then you're not shitting on the player's time, right? If a person feels like they're wasting their time, they're going to put the game down. Again, he hasn't said anything about it yet as far as the rewards structure or whatnot. Maybe he will.
It felt like it was a faster loop of being in and out than what I'm used to in extraction games. One thing that I do want to make note of here was the visuals and performance. This was just like jaw-dropping to me in all respects. The game looks phenomenal.
It looks great.
Unbelievably good looking at times. There were many occasions where I found myself actually pausing in a PvP game. I would just stop for a second to just take in how good like the lighting and the environmental effects were. In particular, a lot of these there were areas with like the indoor environments where the light would be peeking through these tinted tinted windows, and it was just like so good looking. It was some of the most realistic looking graphics I have seen. Really, really impressed here. What's even more though is that the whole thing ran like flawlessly. It was like perfectly smooth frame rates the entire time that I played, and that goes a long way for me. It almost doesn't matter to me how good a game looks. If it runs like garbage, I'm not really gonna want to play it. If there's inconsistent frame rates, if they're jumping all over the place, but to have like a great looking game and have it also run so smoothly, and especially in the fact that this is like I don't know how many more months pre-release. This game's not scheduled until 2025 at some point. So yeah, it ran very well on top of looking really good. That's awesome. Love to see it. Bunch of progression systems. In between rounds, you have access to going through your inventory. Then there's also vendors, crafting, and various forms of account progression. So there's a bunch of PvE traders, and they're going to sell you all of the basic stuff that you need.
Okay.
Basic levels of ammo, weapons, and attachments. There's a grenade shop, a medical bay, and security station, which sells some just like basic materials, as well as those solo raider hatch escape keys if you're playing solo. There's a whole questing system, and I'm guessing.
Wait a minute, there's a solo mode? So is it a solo extraction? Other people in there are solo as well? I hope you're not going in solo with with a team of 3.
They're taking a lot of what's here from what was in that looter shooter PvE version of the game, because a bunch of these quests are like voice acted and stuff, and they given some narrative background telling you to go see someone like in the security bay. I'm like, what security bay? This is just a menu, and I'm talking to like menu embedded NPCs here. But regardless, yeah, there's a whole questing system. You'll pick up a quest, and this will be some combination of the NPC will want you to bring them materials. They'll want you to complete some sort of objectives while you're in one of the matches.
Okay, so now my question is, maybe he answers it. So the quest is given to me. I get to get those resources. I get those resources. If I get killed, do I lose those resources?
Usually it's like, go to this.
Or am I only losing the gear and not the resources? You see what I'm saying? If I keep the resources but lose the gear, but I can complete the quest, cool, because that means I didn't waste my time. But if I have the resources, lose the resources, and now I can't complete the quest and I lose everything, that's a big downer.
Specific point of interest and interact with some specific object there, and then you turn it back in. Or they'll want you to like ping PvE enemies or do other things within a match, participate in an event, which primarily right now looks to be just those crash drones. And then all of this rewards you some experience, currency, and items. Currency and items are used to purchase things from the traders, to repair your gear, but then also resources used for crafting. The game has a full-blown crafting system.
So you gotta put your resources that you're getting for the quest in that pack, basically, is what you're saying. All right, well, at least they give you something to go, okay, you're not completely wasting your time if you get killed.
Anything that you can find or purchase from NPC vendors, you can also craft. An assortment of ranged weaponry, all of the basic types: assault rifles, pistols, shotguns, LMGs, everything that you assume from a third-person shooter is pretty much here. Then there's also armor. You've got this basic protection, which comes in different tiers with light, medium, and heavy. There's associated penalties and benefits with each of those. All of this stuff has rarities as well. You can either find or upgrade the rarity of these items. There's also mods, attachments, ammunition, grenades, utility items.
So when do you use the weapons then? You never bring out your best gear, so then why even have the gear? You know what I mean? Are you collecting it for like Pokemon? You got to collect all the gear? Like, why would you have the best gun and never bring it in with you?
With consumables and throwables. Yeah, again, pretty much everything you expect from this sort of like looter PvE extraction game, looter shooter game. Yeah. Progression comes in the form of account-wide skill trees. These are broken up into 3 categories: conditioning, mobility, and survival. Each of these are just linear progression. You move from one end all the way to the other, getting various benefits to offensive and defensive things, survivability, mobility.
Do you get XP? Here's my next question. Those of you that played it, do you get XP while you're playing, or is the XP rewarded to you after you die? And is it where if I unlock something in my skill tree because of the XP, right? If I extract, I get the XP. If I don't extract, I can lose everything. Or do I get the XP no matter what, and I can put it in towards my skill tree? Is that the thing that keeps you coming back? Even if you die, you can still put stuff towards your skill tree, the XP.
stealth, things like that. And something that I really appreciated that they have in here is the way that they handle naked runs. So one thing that you'll constantly run up against in extraction games is having a bad streak where you just keep on dying and you keep losing your stuff over and over and over again. And so oftentimes players will do these self-enforced naked runs where they go in with pretty much nothing but the basic necessities, like a low-level weapon and some low-level consumables. Well, Arc Raiders has just a built-in method of automatically doing this. It's called trader runs. What it's going to do is it'll dump anything that's in your equipped item stash that you would normally go into a match with, and it's just going to load you in with one basic weapon and a few basic consumables and then ammo to go with your basic weapon.
Okay.
What I like here is that they make it super streamlined and easy. There's nothing for you to do. You don't have to like dump your current setup. It does it automatically, or you don't have to go in and craft or buy from vendors basic levels of weapons, consumables, and ammo and then put them all in your stash. No, it just like gives you a random loadout. You're going to start with one weapon, healing items, and in most cases also some form of a grenade. And they're no risk runs. You can just keep on doing over and over and over again from what we saw. And I just like that they're taking out the fiddling with your inventory portion of it, which I've experienced in other extraction games. They've streamlined this. And I think there are other extraction games that have made a similar streamlined method along the lines of what they're doing here. But again, I just wanted to highlight it because sometimes I play games where I'll want to do these low risk runs, but it still requires a bunch of prep work of I got to buy the basic item, I got to buy the associated ammunition, and I got to make sure I've got my healing and whatever other consumables that I want. Now, I got to say one thing that gives me hope for Arc Raiders beyond the fact that I've enjoyed what I've played thus far is their developer, Embark Studios. Well, this isn't their first game. If you weren't aware, they just recently released another title, The Finals. It came out in December 2023, and that game had a great reception. It currently sits at mostly positive on Steam. It's got a rating of nearly 80% positive, and they still have a steady player base averaging about 20,000 peak concurrent daily players today, and that ain't too shabby. I mean, that puts them in the top 100 most played games on Steam each and every single day. Not bad, right? So the fact that I already feel like Arc Raiders is in a solid spot, even only playing it for about 2 days here, that it has me hopeful that by the time they launch this thing, it's even in better shape, because I already really like the base foundation that is here. And then other than that, I mean, not a lot else to say. I enjoyed my time with it. It seems like a well put together extraction game. It seems polished and just looks good. It plays good. Great animations, great immersion. I had a good time with it. That's about all I got to say. I'm going to want to play a lot more before I give a really thorough, in-depth review and critique of this, of course, because I've only played about 10 hours so far. As I've said, I like what I've seen thus far, and I'm pretty hopeful for this game's future, hoping it turns out good. Arc Raiders is supposed to be coming out at some point in 2025. I think it's supposed to be in the first half of the year, so we might be 6 to 8 months from its release as of this recording. We'll see. That's it for today's video. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll be...
You can check out Force Gaming and Luke Stevens' videos down below in the description. I'm not sold on it yet. Here's the thing. I was very excited about this game originally, because it was the people that were ex-DICE developers that made the finals and also this game. And then when this was a looter shooter, I was excited about it. I was like, oh, cool. It looks good. I thought it was going to be like the Defiance, like I said. It looked awesome, and I was very excited about it. Then it got delayed. Then they changed it from that to an extraction. I personally lose. I don't like the extraction type of stuff. So if it comes out, I might give it a shot or whatnot, but I'm not in love with it. There's a lot of questions I have. Those of you in chat that say that you like it, fantastic. I got to see more of it. But it looks beautiful. It looks great. I just don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough people to, as we talked about indie games earlier, right? As far as the player base, and it's hard to capture that player base. I can't imagine the people that are playing all these extraction games all of a sudden are gonna, they're all of a sudden going to jump ship, and they're all going to move here over to this one, and then this one's going to die. No, it's going to be a small piece that goes over here and starts to play. It builds up a. But is that player base going to be enough to maintain these games from going over? What's their business model? Is it a flat out paid game? Is it a free to play game with microtransactions? What's the business model for this game? Clip says, this may actually be the first extraction shooter I play. Had fun with it. That's good. Altern says, the issue with the extraction shooter is that the older the player, the better the loot. it has. And if you are a new player, the odds of you getting wrecked by old players are 90%. Talk off players are forever. I don't think they were going anywhere. It's possible free to play. Hunt Showdown players will. Until Hunt Showdown comes out with something of an update or something. You know what I'm saying? I just feel, Big Box, that regardless of how good the game is, there's already games that have proven their staying power in this sector, right? So when a new game comes in, it has to be good right out the gate. Okay, because the other people, when they were waiting for the extraction shooter, it is now fixed and they're working well. So this one's got to come out working well from the start, not, well, it'll fix it across the way. You know what I'm saying? Online players right now for Tarkov are 96,000. This is really the first AAA extraction on console. Okay, but the extraction is a niche community, and console is even more of a niche community. The console is like one third of what the player base is on PC. Between PlayStation and Xbox, there's a less than 100 million units sold. Maybe 100 million units. On PC, there's 1.5 billion gamers that play on PC. Wasn't that the same argument about Battle Royale after PUBG? Then we saw a wave of successful BRs. We saw way more unsuccessful BRs than successful BRs. You're looking at it as all the BRs came out and they were successful. There was like 10 BRs that came and went and gone. And the only ones that stand are like the 3 or 4. So how many extractions are there? How many extractions are coming? And which ones are going to make it? Can't all make it. And that's just competing against other extractions. That's not including competing against other BRs, other first-person shooters, other hero shooters, other... Nah, console game sales are usually over 50% of the market. What are you looking at? There's 60 million units of PlayStation 5s. There's 38, maybe 28, 32, whatever the hell it is for Xbox. I'll give 105 million consoles out there. What are we talking about? You think that 100 million units out there for the consoles for this gen is 50% of the gaming market? In what math does that make sense? Lucas, you talk about the one that had all the stuff on the screen that says that this is a box, this is a cat box, this is a we showed that up on stream earlier. look at the game sales splits, the third-party titles, majority go to console. Box. Listen, there's only 100 million consoles. These are facts. 100 million consoles out there. Okay? There's AAA games that can't sell enough copies of games. And that's with no competition of the AAA, just the brand of the what it is. You're bringing a game that is in a saturation point of other extraction shooters that are coming out. Marathon's coming out, right? Then you have the hero shooters and stuff coming out. You have Marvel Rivals coming out. You have all of these games that all games compete with each other, okay? There's no way that an extraction shooter, which is already a niched market, is going to have 50% of the sales on console. Ain't no way you think majority of gamers are on console. There's no way. There's only 100 million of these consoles that are out in the open right now. You can't count the 360s. You can't count the ones. You can't count the PlayStation 4s. Just next-gen consoles. There's less than 100 million units. It's not saturated on console. Consoles are selling less. Less people on planet Earth own a console than ever before. And the extraction market is a niche market of that. But you're talking about the market in general. I'm talking about extractions. And now you're talking about extractions on console. Vigor was an extraction shooter. Where is it right now? Where's all the people talking about Vigor? Where's all the people that were playing extractions inside of Division? Where's the extraction that came out when who did it? Was it Battlefield 2042 did an extraction? This right here is the game that's on console. This is the Steam numbers. But this is an extraction you can play on console. I can tell you right now that this game is not popular on consoles. Vigor's a low budget 6.5 out of 10 game. It's not going to appeal to the masses because it's so janky. No, it's a niche game because of the extraction. Not because it's a janky game, because it's an extraction. I'm not shitting on extractions. I'm telling you what the market is. It's a niche market, and most people play it on PC. Most people play it. The console market is not big enough to support what you're saying. Two things can be true at once. You can be right that the extraction genre is a niche. No, I am, because the stats show it. But it also could be true that the genre is too new to judge. No, the facts are that the stats of what extractions are is a niche market. Facts are that there's only less than 105 million consoles for next gen, and most of those people are not going to play extractions. Both of those statements are true because of the numbers that I'm telling you. Not what I believe, what it is. Extraction shooters are a niche market. And console market of the brand new console, which this is going to be on, it's not going to be on the old one, combined total between PlayStation and Xbox is less than, maybe just above, 100 million units. I'm not taking anything away from you liking extraction shooters and you think it's going to make it and it's going to be, everyone's going to play it. I'm telling you that extraction shooters are a niche market and the console market is small. For a niche market, a niche of a niche. You don't know the potential market size because you haven't seen a AAA effort of a genre or a AAA production value help grow genres. Okay. When it comes out, we'll see. And even if it sells well, to maintain that player base, especially, I don't know what if it's free to play, it doesn't matter the masses of people. They have to spend the money. Console market is huge. What are you looking at? Do you know different numbers than I do? Fortnite was bigger on PlayStation than it was on PC. You're really underselling the big console it is. Fortnite's marketing to kids. Extraction shooter is not marketing to your 10-year-old. Minecraft is huge, but Minecraft is also on PC and every platform known to man. So is Fortnite on mobile. You're grasping like these other things that compare to an extraction shooter. Extraction is such a minute niche. Warzone is massive on console. Warzone is 10 times bigger on mobile. Just in Korea. So you think, Box, that people are going to leave Warzone to go play Arc Raiders continuously? They're going to leave Warzone, never go back. They're going to leave Warzone, and all of those people are going to go to Arc Raiders for an extraction. Mobile isn't the PC or console market? You're right. It's the largest one. PC is the second largest one, and console is the smallest. Like you have some like hopium, like you're like, this game's gonna be the greatest. Give it a shot. Like I'm not giving shit to the game. The genre that it's in is a niche market, regardless if it was AAA or not. Warzone Mobile, 50 million people. 50 million people plays Warzone on mobile. Salty says, you want to know a huge hunt is on PC. 14,000 players. Highest was 30,000. Game's been out for 5 years. But Salty, it's not because it wasn't made by a AAA game. See? That's what he said. You can't judge a genre based on how new it is and zero AAA efforts. If anything, AAA would be worse because the budget would be higher and they have to sell more of it. He says, I think the game could give BJs and it'd still not last more than a year. No, I'll give it 2. I'll give it 2. And again, it's coming out, and then Marathon's coming out. One's going to survive, one's not. Maybe both survive and the other ones die off, right? But how many extraction shooters are you going to have? Because then there's other games that are just adding extraction shooters into their games, not just standalone extractions. Yeah, one shall stand, one shall fall. The big question is, will it last longer than Concord? Yes. Yes. I don't want to say never, but I don't think we see another game in the near future that lasts 11 days. I just don't think we see it last 11 days. But never say never. Right, Krebs. There's always the chance. That's why I said never say never. It could still be there. Someone comes out and makes a game and closes down 10 days. Well, you must have missed the conversation that we had before, Fox, because we said the person that's there first becomes popular because they're there first. And we compare this with like Twitch streamers and other things. Okay? So PUBG was the first kid on the block. So it became big because it was new. Okay? And then other BRs came and went. And then other BRs made it because, Fortnite dove into the building mechanic and whatnot. Okay. The extraction shooter, the BRs now, they fail left and right because there's so many. There's a oversaturation. And then there's other people like Call of Duty who just pivoted from what their game is and just added a BR mode because people already have it. You say exactly. Yeah, but the genre has already been established. The extraction shooter is a niche market. Regardless if it's AAA or not. Okay? It's a niche market. Saying that the American Truck Simulator is a huge for the simulation of truckers, right? There's other trucking games out there, but American Truck Simulator is the best one, or Euro Truck Simulator is the best one. That is a niche market. Okay? That is a niche market. So when other trucking games come out, they get very little whatever because the niche market of what it is. Okay? There's no way in hell you're going to have an oversaturation of the same type of thing and that game is going to be successful in this age of gaming. There's too many like-minded games that are like the exact same. So, let me ask you a question. If Marathon and Ark Survival, okay, or Ark Raiders, whatever the hell it's called, okay, released on the exact same day, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are they both going to be successful? Dark Taco said they already tried AAA extraction shooter, Mike. DMZ from COD, and it died. Oh, but no AAA studios tried it, Dark. It's like you don't want to like admit that it's a niche. We have to see how they implement it. They can implement it all they want. Most people don't want to play extraction shooters. It's a niche. It's a niche market. I'm not saying it's a dead market. I'm just saying it's a niche market. And then because it's a niche market and there's 5 games that all do extractions, then your niche becomes even nichier because they're all not going to leave the other games to go play the newest game. Right. You can make a G.I. Joe extraction. You can make a Transformers extraction. You can make a Thundercats extraction. It doesn't matter. It's still an extraction. It's still a niche. Dark Taco says, even if Marathon is the best game ever made, most people do not want to play the games like that. Extraction shooters are not going to get next battle royales. No one likes them enough. Now, they can find a market. It's just going to be a niche market. American Truck Simulator is very successful. Farm Simulator, very successful, right? That's not saying, right? My argument to you is the masses are not going to be playing an extraction shooter. It's a niche market. Are you aware that all markets start out as a niche? Not true. Not true. Do you think Madden football's a niche market? Most people played Madden football when it came out, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It was big when it came out. Hence why EA is what EA is. The first football game ever created didn't sell nearly as well as Madden because they never had the licensing of the NFL. It was a niche before Madden. You understand, though, that the gamers back then, when they first started playing, if you're talking about the first football game, there was like 8 million people playing video games then. So if 100,000 people played a Madden, that's a much different than 1.5 billion people and 14,000 people playing a game. You understand that difference, right? All games are a niche compared to Pong and Minesweeper. Not enough time, Dark Taco. Not enough time. Hasn't been a AAA game company yet to do it. I'm saying it's a niche. He's arguing it's not a niche. I'm saying that consoles have less than 100 million. He's saying no. It's 50% of the video game marketplace. Niche is a niche. We don't know the ceiling potential of this genre. Developers solves the early issues. I'll tell you what. I will tell you that it's a niche, and I will stay with it. And that's how we'll end it, because that's what it is. Facts are facts. It's a niche. When the game comes out, it's coming in a niche market, and because it's an extraction and people don't like to get kicked in the nuts when they play a video game, they just want to play a game casually, that's why it'll stay a niche. It'll never become the massive success. It'll never become an esport. It'll never become a hero shooter because one, it's boring to watch. Two, people don't like to get kicked in the nuts when they play a video game. It's a niche market, and this is why people play battle royales, quick matches, and stuff like that. These are reasons why the mass market of people don't make and play extraction shooters. Don't play those types of games. This doesn't take anything away from you liking extractions, playing Arc Raider or Arc Survival, whatever the fuck it's called, okay? It doesn't matter. I'm letting you know what the actual market is. The market is a niche market. It could be successful, but it's never going to be a mass success. Extraction shooters are equivalent to Dark Souls of shooters. There's more people playing Dark Souls all turn. Nothing I said about the stats of the system and what the genre is false. Elden Ring sold 30 million. Well, great example. Elden Ring is not like Dark Souls. Elden Ring is a much more palatable Dark Souls-like game. It went for the masses, okay? And that's why it opened it up, because it wasn't a Dark Souls. You could play a lot more and get into the game a little bit more before you had to get your dick kicked in, okay? And that's why Elden Ring worked. What is this extraction doing different than the other extractions already out in the market? Right? Because Elden Ring is not Dark Souls. Elden Ring is opened up to the broader audience. Hence why it sold that many more copies. Because it's not a Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a much harder game than Elden Ring. The genre could be opened up to a larger audience. No, it cannot, because of the type of genre it is. What is an extraction going to do to break into the market? The only way the extraction would be broader audience is if it was a PvE only extraction. That's it. That's it. Well, Big Box, we're going to stand here all day, and I'm not going to stand because I'm standing, you're sitting. So that's where we're going to leave it. All right, we'll be back tonight for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories of the past week, and we rant along the way. If you guys like what I do here, we cover news stories, have conversations. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.